that wants to come in before still, just in case anybody's actually here. I might just do the live stream by myself. That's fine. I couldn't ever get. I'm struggling to try to figure out how to turn on the channel, switch it over to what the hell do they call it? They have it set for not for children or something, and so I have to manually change each video to an adult audience. And I tried to get it. There's when you go into the like the Google Help forums, Google Help. Sup? You got the notification? No shit. No kidding. I was just talking about how I could never change it. I tried to change it today. I couldn't find it. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. So I wanted to follow up on the last one. I put my cat inside my dog and chase it around the house with the vacuum. Nice. Are you guys okay? You guys good with continuing on? Hey, Eric, thanks for checking in, man. Appreciate you being here. I'd like to continue on the last live stream. I got tired and got cut off just because I had to go to sleep. So I wanted to follow up, if that's okay with you guys, and then talk about the video, because the last live stream we were supposed to talk about the video. We never got around to it because there were people that wanted to ask questions, which is great, and I wanted to get their questions, and it ended up we pretty much started talking about the relationship between Jews and Germany and the conception, like the outside conception of the world, of their how they view Germany, which I was arguing is strongly based on media synthesis. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. So I forgot a couple things, right, that were real important that I was thinking back on it. I was like, well, we can't talk about like, if you recall, what we did talk about was the situation of how the Jewish diaspora that was in Germany and in the United States and England and France, essentially like traded information to fuck up Germany, So that's what I was arguing for. There are some people that didn't like that, but they couldn't explain why, but they made sure to leave me a comment, and they should have put their fingers on the keyboard. And so I'm going to try to be more specific and to the point, because I was wandering. So hopefully this satisfies whatever issues they were having beyond a doubt. Because I also found, so one of the things that's really incredible about actual historical account is that you have the Germans, the Germans notification work, outstanding. And the guy also called me a beatnik in the comment. And that's like, when you call me a beatnik, it's like, it makes me I want to drill you into the ground. Like I want to go back to I want to be a drill sergeant. I want to go to drill sergeant school with him. Yeah. You will not call me a beatnik. You can't stop believing in me. You can't stop this cyber machine. The pogrom is something. I'm going to do an intellectual pogrom on anybody that wants some. If I don't know who it is, I'm not sure. I mean, it's fine. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I'm just joking. I have to respond. I had to respond with more because he said that whoever it was said that I had a wandering point, and that I wasn't fixated, and that I was a beatnik, and that anybody can wear a stupid hat, and and I agree with him. I completely agree with him. So I felt bad. I was like, he's totally right. I got to do this again, even better, even more thoroughly, right? So one of the things that we talked about, I mentioned last time. I mentioned that you had like the Balfour Declaration, which was international Jewry, like Jewish diaspora, going to the state of Britain, which has Jewish diaspora within the mechanics of the state, like in the like the executive level of the state, and but not at the surface level, not like the visible level, right? And like Lord Balfour obviously had a relation with uh, Rothschild House, right? That's the whole way that they got the Balfour Declaration in the first place, right? But the really interesting thing was that I know that I've read before and I couldn't find my source for what I said last time, so I prefaced it last time. I said, hey, this is what is suspected. I can't uh, totally substantiate this. But you can logically deduce that something like it must have happened, right? Well, I went back and I searched and I was like, maybe I can find something. I found a separate instance. So there were two instances where this happened, where the Jews approached the Germans and asked them for Palestine while it was under Ottoman control. Two separate times. Because the time that the event that I knew about was really was closer to 1916, the one that I knew about. So that must have been like a last chance or something. This is one between so Kaiser Wilhelm II, which you don't hear about a lot. So Kaiser Wilhelm, he's the Kaiser. He's a Kaiser of Germany from from like Bismarck up into the and his father. He had a father, the first, right? And they always go to Jerusalem, right? Because they're like Christian. So they go to Jerusalem for like a Christian pilgrimage, right? Well, the Wilhelm II went to Jerusalem, and he was met by, that would have been in like 1898, and he was met by Theodor Herzl, which is like considered the founder of Zionism. Like all Zionism is considered to ideologically stem from him. I don't agree with that. I believe that Zionism technically stems from more of like Moses Hess, personally. But that's another issue. We're not going to talk about Moses Hess. We'll talk about Moses Hess when we talk about communism, because Moses Hess is essentially the guy that invented communism. He's a rabbi. He was the teacher of Karl Marx. They asked, so Theodor Herzl supposedly, and this is according to a guy named, like this, of course there's no, this is from a guy named, I wrote down his name so I wouldn't forget it, somewhere. Oh shit. No, write that down. Oh, okay, yeah. So this guy's name is Gil Lieberson, huge Jew. He lives in Herzliya, Israel, and he stated that the Theodor Herzl wanted to meet with Kaiser Wilhelm II to influence him to give Jewish autonomy in Palestine, right? And then he says it was like a missed opportunity for the eternal Jewish flame, and yada. This would be in 1898 is when he went there, right? So, I guess like Wilhelm wasn't impressed, right? Because like Herzl was kind of like, he's like he was a pretty intense Zionist, but I don't know if Zionism failed, right? Like I mentioned how there was early Zionism that failed in Europe, like they failed to motivate any Jews to want to go to Palestine, because it was basically like it was like, hey guys, I know that you guys like Lederhosen in Germany. I know that you guys like eating all the sausage and stuff like that, but I'm just kidding. I'm sure they didn't eat sausage, okay? Don't come after me, Jews. I'm not denigrating your German Ashkenazi here, okay? What the hell am I even talking about? I can't get on tangents. You guys got to keep me on track here. Okay, so I'm assuming that do you guys know who Herzl is? Founder of Zionism. Herzl. He's got streets named after him and shit. He's like, I don't smoke. Smoke's kind of nasty. Burns your lungs. I'm okay with losing teeth though. Well, he's a big deal. He's a big deal for Jews. You should look him up. He's the only like the change from the spiritual side of Judaism to the physical side of Judaism through me too. Taking Judaism into the form of a football and going for a touchdown. So that's Theodore Herzl. So on Camp Bots podcast, I don't even know who that is. Yeah, hopefully everybody did their homework. Yeah, it's only because you get a reward. Like I'm telling you, like the worst thing that you could do is not understand the situation with Jews, and people don't understand, and Jews don't want to tell anybody. It's not like the Jews are out there like advertising themselves or something. They're trying to hide. So everything becomes insane until you understand the Jews, and then it's like the glue that holds everything together for world history. It's important to know. They won't teach it in school because they're so miseducated, like slaves in their own mind, that they won't even talk about it. Like you could go to like a school and try to teach anything on Judaism, and they would want you to bring like Netanyahu to teach the class and stuff, just so that it was right and nobody would get it wrong. Oh, thanks. No, so I just brought a Wi-Fi hotspot. Is my connection better on this? Should be faster, I think. I don't have any Skittles, man. I don't really eat candy. It was just a joke. Okay, good. Yeah, so I brought a Wi-Fi. Thank you. Thank you. My doctor today shared something very similar about the virus testing. Your connection is much better. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, so okay. So anyway, world Zionism, because Herzl can be considered world Zionism. He's a big deal. What the hell is this now? What are we talking about? Protestantism. Well, I'm not super familiar with Protestantism in particular in the United States. I would we'll like touch on it when we talk about the movie at the end of this. We'll talk about the video with the Israel Shahak. But so Herzl goes and talks to Wilhelm II. Wilhelm II is like, God, your mustache is not long enough, right? And then he doesn't give him Israel. Okay. And then a later time comes up where they ask somebody in the German government, like somebody represents themselves as a statesman of the Jews, diasporic Jews, and tries to do it again. And this is all prior to the switch to like fuck Germany, right? And then all the international newspapers switch to tank on Germany, and they get fucked. But the other thing that so this is what's really interesting, right? And then this is the most important. This is the most important part. Most important. Thank you for letting me know about the connection. I appreciate that. So there's this guy, Joseph Haim Sonnenfeld. That's Sonnenfeld. He died in 1932. So the Kaiser's visit, the Wilhelm II, this is the same visit. I think Wilhelm II only went once, because after World War I, things went a little awry. So, Joseph Haim Schoenfeld, he was considered the spiritual leader of Ashkenazi Judaism. He was in, Eretz Yisrael, right? And then he said, so like all the rabbis went to meet Wilhelm, and then he didn't go, and they were like, why not? And then he said, the Germans are Amalek, right? So he basically declared among anyone that fought that would consider themselves in the movement of spiritual Ashkenazi Judaism, he declared Germany to be Amalek. Okay, now this is in 1898. What the help is Amalek? Great question. So Jews, to make a long story short, because we don't want to, I promise you don't want to know all this stuff because you'll get very neurotic. But the Jews have a commandment to they have a positive commandment to destroy all traces of Amalek, which is a son of Esau, and Esau is a brother of Jacob, which is like the like technically Esau and Jacob are patriarch bloodlines for Jews, but Esau is like the bad, he's like the bad side. Jacob has all the sons that end up being like the tribes of Israel, right? And Esau has he has like one intermediate son. I can't remember what his name is, and then that son has Amalek. Amalek. So when the Jews, like in Jewish, history, except for Jewish history, when they're leaving Egypt with Moses, they get attacked from behind for like in terms of the book, like what the book says, what the commandments say. They say that the city of the Amalekites attacked the Jews, killing their men in the back for no reason in the middle of the desert, and the Jews weren't even trying to go to their city. And then so it automatically, Moses put into the book that they have to kill, they have to, Amalek has to be destroyed. So Jews have a positive commandment. If they can identify Amalek, they have to kill Amalek. Not only do they have to kill Amalek, they have to blot his name out of history. They have to, until it's not known. So they can't stop until the name Amalek is not remembered by anybody on the planet that's living. They also can't, like nobody said, like a rabbi gave an example. I can't quote it. I don't know where you can find it. You can look this shit up. So there was a rabbi that was quoted as saying, like, if somebody, for instance, says that dog belonged to Amalek, then it's like not done yet. Like, you got to keep it. You got to kill the dog. You got to kill, you got to keep on going. You got to erase Amalek, right? So that's Amalek. This guy declared Germany Amalek. Okay. So that was in 1898 with Wilhelm. And then he was the leader, the guy who declared that as the spiritual leader of Ashkenazi Judaism in Palestine, but like Eretz Yisrael, like the land, right? So that sealed the deal for Germany. This is why everything got fucked. They probably would have been okay if they would have gone full speed ahead and just been like, yep, we'll fucking shoot all these Arabs and give you Israel. Then they probably would have been fine. But they weren't going to do that because they were taking him. Pretty fly for a rabbi. Best quote for. Oh yeah, that was a song, right? So anyway, it's technically not permissible to be the Constitution. Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Germanish Parish. So these are all they're really intense books, and when people read them, they don't think that they're real, but they're not. I don't like to cite them. They are real. Like You Gentiles is another one that's really good, and this is like a Jewish author. You know what I mean? It's like a Jewish expression, an expressionist author that wrote like You Gentiles, and it's pretty intense stuff. Like it's pretty anti-goyim, right? But this isn't. It doesn't matter. I don't even reference that because it's better just to really get the idea and communicate historical reality. You just stick to the religion itself. I mean, the religion can speak for itself, right? There's nobody else that's going to speak for Judaism besides Judaism, right? So, so you get Germany essentially set up. I gotta stop saying essentially. I said I wouldn't say it anymore last time, but I lied. So I'm still saying it, but we're gonna try to stop. So the Germany set up at this point. This would have been in 1898. So they're set to fall then at that point. Now here was what was really interesting, right? So did you know that Wilhelm had basically, right? Wilhelm the First. He got assassination attempts, right? Check this out. This puts the icing on the cake. Well, it doesn't. I'll tell you what puts the icing on the cake after this. This puts the icing on the cake though a little bit towards the outside of the cake. There was there's this organization called General German Workers Association. It was in 1863. It was a socialist organization in Germany. It was the founder was Ferdinand Lassalle. That's a Jewish man. So Wilhelm had an assassination attempt in 1878. This is the first. which is, we're talking like 20 years prior to this incident with Wilhelm meeting with Herzl. So the socialist, the hidden socialist party, like this little underground socialist spy terrorist wing in Germany that was against the German state, tried to assassinate Wilhelm I with Emil Hodel, like H-O with the little 2 dots above it. So he shot at Wilhelm. He got decapitated. He got like executed in prison. But then 1 month later, this guy named Karl Nobling also tried to assassinate Wilhelm I, and they both fucked it up. They weren't super efficient. So the organization, this General German Workers Association, one of the original members, the founder was Ferdinand Lassalle. Ferdinand Lassalle. Lassalle was one of the founding members. The other founding member was Wilhelm Liebknecht, as in the father of Karl Liebknecht, who did the fucking communist takeover of Germany, who's also Jewish. So, I think this stuff is historically, it matters, right? Like it matters you can't talk about Germany without considering that, you have fucking 50 years of constant attempted assassinations by socialists who are foreigners in Germany, like vacationing in Germany, trying to fucking take it over. I haven't read a ton of stuff on Churchill, no. So but I'm just saying it's important. Like you can't get an accurate picture. There's no way, like your picture is going to be exactly what they teach people in schools, which is like, well, and there was Germany, and then they put on, like the little tights and the shoes, and they had their beer, and then they just, wanted to kill all the Jews. Like that's a historical account, and it's just not accurate. It's not honest in any sense, So the next thing, now here's the icing. I told you that was the outer icing. Here's the inner icing. The inner icing is so when the Ottoman Empire was, like, when the actual war was going on in 1914, World War I started in 1914. The Ottoman Empire was under the Sultan. And they had governors, and they had tons of governors for the Ottoman Empire. He sent a governor named Pasha. It would have been Jamal Pasha. And Jamal Pasha, knew that there were underground resistance Jewish Zionist groups in Jerusalem, or in Israel in general, but in Jerusalem in particular. And he wanted to kill them all. So this is or he wanted to send them out into Jordan barefoot. So they would be like evicted to Jordan to the east, and they would go to the desert and they would die. It was certain death. And there were around this time, the Jews didn't have it easy in Jerusalem. They had a ton of suffering. They starved to death. There was like a lot. I think they lost like 40,000 Jews in the period of like the beginning of World War I in Jerusalem because of Jews getting moved around and shit by the Ottoman Empire. So it wasn't no picnic for the Jews. I'm not saying that. I don't talk about the Holocaust because, number one, anybody that's intellectually honest knows that it's disputed. So I just don't even, I accept the public narrative. I say like, okay, fine. That's what it is. You say that's what it is. That's what it is. I don't talk about it because we don't need to, because everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to know about the Holocaust. I don't need to say that. They already got it. Nobody knows anything about any of this shit. That's why. So like, I'm not like anti-Jew. I'm talking about the Jews that are suffering in Israel. Okay. So just, don't gang up on me, or, don't be mad at me. Right. This is just reality. If it's not real, leave a comment, tell me, and then I'll look it up and I'll correct myself. I won't give up bad information. I'll correct myself. So, the Jamal Pasha tried to send out, he's a governor for the Ottoman Empire, tries to send out the Jews out of Jerusalem because he doesn't want the Zionist underground spy ring to, like, he's thinking they're going to kill off the Ottoman Empire. He's probably right. So he kicks him out. He's trying to kick him out. Guess who saves him in 1917? After he gives the order to kick them out, it's this cat named, oh shit. I didn't write down this guy's name. Did I? Nope. Oh, his name is Frederick Kessa. He's like in the German consulate in Israel, and he calls up he's German, right? And he calls up the German Empire, and then like says we can't have destabilization there. We can't, and the Sultan's sending out the Jews, and they're gonna starve to death, and he got them and return them. So it's so after they declared that Germany was Amalek, Germans were actually the only ones that stopped the Jerusalem Jews and the Zionists in Jerusalem from getting starved to death in the desert, getting exiled into Jordan by the Ottoman Empire. So that's just you see what I'm saying? It's a very dishonest history, because it's the Germans get such a bad rap. But everybody's killing people. It's like that quote from Full Metal Jacket where they say, it's like trying to charge somebody for murder in a war is like handing out speeding tickets to the Indy 500. I got disconnected there. It's Kesselstein or something like that. The guy's name is Frederick Kesselstein or whatever. He's from the German Empire. You can fucking look it up. Yeah. So the biggest points. Those were big points that I wanted to add, because I think it's important, because I think it shows. I think it's just Germany had Germans are Germans, so it's they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they don't really value. They're not Jewish. They don't know anything about Jews. They're not gonna have. You go tell the Germans that you want a country of their ally in an active war they're fighting, and they're gonna be like, okay, and they're not gonna do it, right? But other shit. Yep. And so he declared him Amalek. That's the big thing, right? That's why the reason that Germany got such a bad driving into the ground is because rabbinicism in Jerusalem went labeled it, put out when the spiritual leader of Ashkenazi Judaism says this nation is Amalek, then that sticks. That's it. It's the word of God. Essentially, I mean, it's not the word of God; it's his opinion on the word of God, and therefore, that's God's word through him. And then he did it, and then that's why it's so fucked up. And that's why the Red Army was so brutal with the Germans, and it's raping and murdering children and shit. It's because, and that's reflected through Russian writing, through recovered documents. I'm not just saying that. I'm not going to go in that now. We'll talk about communism. I'm not going to talk about that now, but and I'll make sure I bring my cited sources so that you don't have a seizure on your keyboard. But that's why, because once you're in a position of power in rabbinicism, which is that's like the Pharisees. I mean, that's who that is. Just a continuation of the Pharisees. Once you're declared Amalek, then that's it. It's stuck. Now you have to be. It's anybody's obligation. If you're standing around in front of a flamethrower that was just sitting there with a button on it, the Jews are now obligated to come up and press the flamethrower button, or else they're not fulfilling the law. So they have to do it. You get what I'm saying? It's a religious law. Slap. Okay. So that's the way that works. So Drew Shaw asked me, so to an extent, the Russians are fundamentally Jewish in nature. Am I understanding it's right? Russians are in no way Jewish, mostly. I'm getting declared Amalek. Probably. Shit, I hope not. I don't want to go up against you Jews. I just want you to quit censoring everything and let everybody have it. And all these people are just so lost and mindless. They do what they're already doing, whatever. You might as well just be hey, just convert to Judaism. You just have all the guns. Just keep all your guns and convert to Judaism. They'd all do it, or Noahidism, or whatever. Probably love to do it. Fuck. All right. Yeah, I got grizzly wintergreen. See, I got this thing right. I like the fermented dip, but for some reason I like to do an interval with shitty grizzly wintergreen, which is one of the lowest quality tobaccos ever that you can find in gas stations everywhere in North America. The Jews are Bolshevik. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted there with the grizzly question. I saw grizzly and it's got two Z's in it. And pulled my eye like. So yeah. So the Russians are not Jewish. The Russians are, they're like Eastern European. I'm not even talking about the Asiatic angle on it, but they're Eastern Europeans. The all the Bolsheviks are Jews that got expelled from Russia that were living in Russia during the revolution in the late 1800s, like maybe they won in like 1895 and like one in like 1905, maybe. I think they had two. If I'm not, could anybody look that up? We're not. I don't want to just forget when the revolutions are. There was a revolution, an attempted failed communist revolution in Russia that failed, and then they figured out who they were because they're all Jewish, and so they expelled them all. Like once you figure out they're all Jewish, then you're like, okay, so if I look at Jews, they're communists, and then you go over there and they're doing all communism. So it's pretty easy to like track them down then, right? 1918? No, 1918. You're talking about the 1917. You're talking about the actual civil war and the coup in Russia. I'm talking about prior. In 1895, there was a prior. The same dudes that did that tried to do it to Tsar Nicholas before, and they failed, and they all got exiled. Lenin got exiled. Trotsky got exiled. Leon Trotsky's real name is Levi Bronstein. That's his name's not Leon Trotsky. They just say that in history books. He changed his name to sound more Russian. He's not Russian. He's Jewish. Oh, no worries, bro. Sorry, if I sound intense, I don't mean to sound intense. I'm really not. I'm not like judgmental. So I'm sorry. I'm just trying to. Yeah, that's how I say it. I say like Stein, like proper German, right? You should have seen me in Europe trying to learn German language. I'm trying to like take the Head Start program for the army, like trying to speak German, and it would be like the dumbest things. Like it's really confusing for me being in Germany because I'm so used to the American setup for everything, and in Germany it's like everything's just a little bit different enough to like be different enough to where like you can't find food. You're like, what's the real food and what's the fake food? Like, will this sustain me? Does this have calories? Like you can't tell because you go like order something, it's like a little thing, and you order this other thing, it's like a giant pile of like cabbage or something, and you're like, what? Where's just the meal? Yeah, 1905. There's one in the 1890s also. They had two, like I said. No, I haven't seen the documentary. Shit, where were we even going with that? I'm derailing this is why I warrant these comments about me not staying on point because I'm not good at it. This is, you guys are watching the reflection of my actual mind. This is what goes on in my head all day. But yeah, no, Germany's food is excellent. It's actually the basis of colonial food because a lot of that stuff spread into England. Like preservation methods, like all of your vinegar foods are like German origin for like surviving the winter. So they would preserve foods with like smoking and not so much. That's more like your north of Germany, like your Arctic type areas where they do a lot of smoking. Germany's like like pickling, like tons of pickling and fermentation, and that is a lost craft. People don't realize that in America because we eat processed food from a consolidated communist fucking market. Like there's no like the only like it's a lost art. You can't keep. So let's say that your power grid goes down. Yeah, brines, exactly. Your power grid goes down here. Like you make the assumption that you're always going to power. You're not. You can't give everybody solar panels and batteries. It's not feasibly possible. All this shit has to get manufactured. If you manufacture it for every person in the United States, it's too much. You can't do it. It's not possible. Like, so people have to buy them, and some people have them, but like it can't do everybody. So if your refrigerator goes out, all of your food will go bad. Well, back then they had to figure out a way, people used to not have refrigerators. So it's like, how do we not die? And they figured out fermentation. So they catch wild yeast and then they ferment foods in like a crock pot. That's where crock pots come from. What foods and animals? Well, so I grow a lot of vegetables and then I have chickens. I don't have any other animals at this time. I have had other animals, but I don't at this time. Like I'm not big, so I will eat meat if I slaughter it. Like I only eat meat that I kill. I don't eat at like restaurants or anything like that. The I would like to get some goats for milk and for eating all these um, bushes out here, you know. But the squirrel, I've never eaten a squirrel now. A squirrel wouldn't be that bad though. The typical. So if you didn't know this, if you're ever like out in the woods and you need to kill some animals and eat them, you typically so like all energy comes from the sun. So like for instance, like energy will come down, get into like photoplankton and shit like that, and then it'll be like consumed by small crustaceans, and then it'll get eaten by fish, and then that's like the chain, right? So it's the same thing in like the Animalia kingdom. You have like you want to avoid once they start being carnivorous. You don't want to eat the carnivorous animals usually. So like a squirrel is good because they just eat nuts. That's not kosher though. So if you're an Orthodox Jew here trying to learn about the kosher diet, I might not be the one to ask. You know what I mean? But but yeah, if you eat an animal that's like eating uh, vegetables, then you're good. But let's see, where were we? I got sidetracked. Can somebody remind me where we were at? Can I get some group help with my brain? Russia. No, we're not getting to the Israel shock yet. That's at the very end. Are you trying to rush us along here, Drew? Drew's trying to rush us along. He's getting embarrassed. Kosher pickles. I don't like the kosher foods simply because I have no problem with kosher food being a food. I have a problem with the consolidation of kosher tax. That's what I don't like. It's a tax, but essentially all the goyim manufacturers have to pay the fucking kosher tax now because they got the goy like looking for the kosher symbol on goods now because they don't even know what it means. They just think like, oh, that's a good symbol. It's an idol. You Jews get that? They're making idols. They don't even know what it is, so it's an idol. So, yeah, Drew knows what I'm talking about. I'm serious. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm just going by. It's not a judgment. I don't make judgment on people. Okay. So, so in Russia, we were talking about. Yeah, you do. Yeah. I just wanted. Yeah, we'll talk about this Shahak doc on Sunday. I just wanted to. It was something that people would want to see before Sunday because on Sunday we'll do like a more structured. We're going to talk about the relationship between the Jews and the United States on Sunday. Right now we're talking about like we said yesterday. We went into talking about the Jews in World War II and the identity of Germany because Germany has such a bad rep. And people didn't understand like how terrible the whole thing has been for Germans, because it's like suppressed by the propagandized media. You know, so that's how we got on that topic, and that was based off of questions from yesterday, and it's important to answer the questions that people have if they have questions. It's like I didn't like. Necessarily want to go into that, but I do want to speak truth. So it's like if I have an opportunity to speak truth, I'll do it. So because it's apparent to see. It's apparent to see once you just pull up, actual like chronological historical events. People will know the truth for themselves. Like they'll see it, and they can make a judgment for themselves. They don't need a person to tell them what to think. I'll just tell you what happened, and then you can be like, wow, that's pretty fucked up. So you want to know about orange juice? Can you explain why they want a war with China? Yeah, sure, Joe. Is that okay? Can we talk about, do you guys want to interlude into China or what? or not? Or should we stay on track? We should probably stay on track, right? China? Okay. All right. We're segueing into China. This is just going to be brief so we can get back because then we'll talk about Israel Shahak. So the whole thing with so if I could put it a simple way. Hey, Idaho. So in a very simple way. Okay, you want me to? Yeah, he wants me to talk about the assassination of the Tsar. Yeah, we'll round back into that. My favorite part about Israel. Well, I'm going back and forth. You guys are making my brain too spastic. We're talking about China, then we're talking about Israel. I got to stick with one. We got to go a little smoother on the transitions here. We're all too meek. You think Tsar Nicholas II was too meek? Just wait until you see what happens to America. So I know I do too, Jesse. Drew, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to respond to you guys' comments. Okay, so China. So the deal with China right now, you want my gut feeling? I'll give you my gut feeling without being able to give you not meek enough. Nice. So the Americans who's not meek enough? I gotta pause now. Somebody said somebody's not meek enough. I need to know who you're talking about. Come on. Don't be shy. Americans. Yeah, they don't need to be meek because they don't have anything. They're like fucking brainwashed animals now. How can they be more meek? They can't be meek. Americans have been supplied so many idols by Jews that they don't even have time to contemplate God. They don't even have time. They can't even get to the point where they can think about it because they're just completely bombarded every single second with a logo and a brand that has to do with materialism and sexualization. And that's 100% Jewry that did that. It's not Americans. Americans just went with it because they're weak. That's just honest. If you're going to say that Americans are meek, I'm going to meet you at the front door and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so China, the situation with China right now is that international Jewry doesn't want America to wake up and know about international Jewry and then repeat Germany. That's what's going on. And so you got China. China has to be broken open because China is racially homogenous and you can't be white or Jewish, which is mistaken as white, because the Ashkenazi Jews, you can't walk around in China like doing business or doing subversive shit without Chinese surveillance seeing you because there's not enough white people there. Like literally, you can't operate or move and stay in a hotel and like go have business meetings without everybody seeing you, the population and the government. And so the whole thing with China is that China is like economically under control of international finance, but because they're top-down communists through the Chinese government. But the Chinese government is operating at the pleasure of the central banks. You know, like it's pretty much they don't really have much say beyond that, other than the racially homogenous large population, which is ethnocentric, and that is, you know, like you have Mandarin, you have Cantonese, and then in Mandarin you have like 100 mutually unintelligible dialects of Mandarin. So like the Chinese and if you ever try to learn Mandarin, good luck. I mean, you're probably smarter than me, but I can't. I mean, I tried one time and I found other things to do pretty quick. But the Chinese can't really be cracked, and if they turn on Jews or Israel and fuck up this plan, then it's bad news. My opinion is that China is you know the kingdom of Gog. So like Jews are like pampering China right now through the central banks, like the Zionists and you know Marrano Jews, if you want to call them that. They're not Spanish, but like Jews that pretend like they're not Jews and pretend like they're international businessmen. They're like trying to be on China's good side and then like start the war, and then they're bringing Chinese into the United States to like embed them in all the universities with all the Marxist Jews that are in education, in the education system. So they're implanting Chinese into the United States to take the place of the suspicion of Jews, and then they're going to start a war with China. They're going to start World War III with China, so that Americans fight China, and then China's going to soften up America with so many losses that then they're softened internally because all of our dudes get killed trying to win over China. And then in the process, I'm assuming somebody's going to penetrate into China. Like, I don't know if it'll be the United States. It could be Russia. I don't know. Somebody's going to go into China and they're going to break it up so that it's not racially homogenous, so then people can, so that in international business and you can have more, higher velocity of, unsurveilled business going on. Like that's what's going on with China. Like if you want the absolute down and dirty, like no bullshit, that's what it is. That's what's going on. That's what World War III is going to be fought for. It's not going to work. The Chinese know about the Jews, and they culturally know about it. It's culturally accepted everywhere. And some more usury. Well, the Jews just don't want the Jews just don't want like a giant monolithic Asiatic kingdom, the north, right? Where God comes from, the north in the Tanakh, like Gog, Magog, the Gog from the kingdom of Magog comes from the north. That's China, could be, okay. So that's what the Jews they should be concerned about that, but they're setting the whole thing up. So it's like, but the Chinese know about the Jews. So the Chinese are going like, well, we were like a poor communist country before. Now we're becoming a superpower through the central banks. So we'll just go with that because that's good for us now. But as soon as they get a chance, they'll turn on the Jews. They're not gonna be allies with the Jews. The Americans were allies with the Jews. The Americans gave Jews everything that they wanted, and then this is how, like where we're at now in the United States is, what we got for it. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't think that people. I think everybody should be accountable for what they do. I don't think that people should, nobody should murder anybody or any of that crazy stuff. But you can't have, I mean, why am I even talking about this? We can't even. It's marginally even comprehensible to somebody that doesn't know the topic. So it's like it's almost not worth talking about. I'm just being for real. That's just for real. I'd tell that to any Jew, because the reality is, it's like, if you're a Jew and you care about Jews, then you should be concerned about that, and you should listen to what I say, because I'm not saying it to like, I'm not Amalek. I'm not betraying you. I'm just fucking saying what is going on. I think that the Jews like should have been a little bit nicer to the Americans. That's what I think, honestly. But we kind of we dug our own grave, right? It's by our own hands anyway. You got to take responsibility where responsibilities due, right? Everybody could have just said no, but we all took the money. No, I didn't drink. Hopefully I didn't drink the spit. I just switched bottles. I don't know about Kim Jong-un. Talking about WildCore. So WildCore is a concept. Yeah, we'll talk about the Israel Shahak video interview next. And don't, like, if you're not Jewish, don't worry about like defending me to the Jews. Any Jew that is worth their salt is gonna listen to what I say, and they're gonna understand. They might have to pretend like they're like disgusted with me talking to you, but they get what I'm saying. I'm not here to be antagonistic. I'm just talking truth. So what the hell were we going to talk about? WildCore. Okay. Quick segue into WildCore. I'm taking a lot of segues. The WildCore is a conception project. It's based on the premise that in the United States, because we're now, since the introduction of the Federal Reserve and the IRS tax code under um, the income tax legislation that got introduced in the beginning of the 20th century under Paul Warburg, whose brother Max Warburg was the bank head for Germany for World War I, while his brother Paul was the bank head for the Federal Reserve for the United States to get us into the war, by the way. Since then, the entire, aren't they? They're crazy. So the wild core is based on the premise that because we're now in a controlled, managed economy, that everything, if it's in business, anybody that's like starting business understands that like nothing exists outside of the control and regulation of the economic entity. So everything from nonprofits to for profits to real estate, anything has to be under this constantly self-eating system that is, it's like a what do you call that? It's like a non-perpetual system. The most perpetual legal system that you can have for maintaining something in perpetuity is the nonprofit model. But nonprofit is it's technically, the nonprofit model is technically still for profit. It's just negative economics. So people have a real misunderstanding when they think of nonprofits. They think of charities and they think like this is just a straight up charity. It doesn't work like that at all. The only reason that nonprofits exist is because they work in the negative field of economics instead of the positive. Like positive field would be like when you go buy a burger and you give them $1 and they give you a product. Negative field is like when you're getting money from the Treasury Department because you're providing a public service, right? Like when you have a nonprofit, you provide a public service, you go through IRS approval. Then once you attain IRS approval, and it's pretty, it's like a long process. Once you attain it, you have to maintain it. But at that point, now you're basically just making money off of tax. So, like that's what's happening, right? And then the person that's giving you donation, they're being incentivized by their tax break, and that goes into both real estate and cash and in-kind donations and real estate and all that. So the wild core takes this into account because you can't have there's no way to transition from the state that we're in right now as a country into something that's better because it's everything is inundated by the system and it's not free. And so like the closest you can possibly get is like a 501c is like the closest perpetual model of entity that you can get. So the wild core operates under that. The wild core operates into that. And the idea for like a person that wants, like if you want to be involved as a volunteer, it would be like you'd find land you would that somebody needs to get rid of that they're hemorrhaging money on, right? They would get the land, acquire it through it'd be like a bonus by giving it away to a nonprofit. They actually make more money than selling it. Then what happens is the entity that's a wild core holds it in perpetuity and then provides it to the public. But the wild core holds it so that it can't be taken away and it's in perpetuity. So even if the wild core closes, it has to transfer to the closest type of entity to maintain its purpose, like its tax exempt purpose. That's to continue in perpetuity. So the purpose of the wild core is to make big ass forests in the United States outside of the cities for fruit and nut trees so that people can eat them. That's what the purpose of it. It's not very big because we just started. It's in its legal formation right now. We're pending IRS approval. Maxim, what's up? Maxim knows something about wild core. Yeah, so here are the bonuses of wild core. The what's good about okay, I'll try to look for it. The bonus about wild core is twofold, right? Like let's say that everything goes to shit. Let's say that Dugan is a complete marble brain and doesn't even know what he's talking about. And China's not even going to happen. But let's say something else happens. And let's say 100 years from now, the United States gets invaded and there's a war, right? Well, so it's based off the models of like World War I, World War II, or like any big wars. So what happens when a war happens? The invading army is going to use the transport, the highways, the rails, like anything that they have to do, and they're going to go to the power structure. So they're going to go through all the cities, and that's going to be like the route that they like. That's going to be the route that they take to take out the country, right? Like any country. That's like the tact, right? So what happens is you see in like World War II, what you see is, because you had the Germans pushed east and they got pushed back west. And so you had like multiple waves of conquering going on. And then the civilians are stuck because anybody that lives in a town just gets their shit pushed in and doesn't have any chance, right? And it's just like horrible suffering. And it happens multiple times. So the idea of wildcore is that you get land that's like within walking distance outside of cities. But they're off the line of attack of like highways. So what happens is you match it to like the calorie intake for the population of the city. And then you grow fruit trees and nut trees, most of which, the lifespan of them is in the multi-100-year time frame. And then we do like perennials for the short term so that there's something right up front that people can access. And then they can, the host city can continue to maintain it and keep it perpetual the way they want it with the foods that they want and stuff. But in the case of like a catastrophic, like let's say you have a tornado, right? Like Joplin, Missouri had a huge tornado, went through, killed 100 people, destroyed the downtown. Well, if they had a wilderness reserve, then they could like walk to it because it'd be in walking distance, even though everything's destroyed. They could go there and at least they could they know that they can set up a tent, they can stay in it, and then they have food. Like they can pick food from the tree. You know what I mean? They can pick nuts. Like even if it was winter, they're still gonna have nuts on the ground, depending on the type of tree and nut, some of them might be bad, but that's the general idea. If they're in spring or summer, like they're good to go. So, and then if it's a war situation, then by putting it offset from the path on the attack between cities, now you're moving the bodies of the civilians outside of the town, and then they can come through and duke it out, and you don't have to have your women and children getting killed during fighting. So the idea is that we start this in the United States, but then we want to spread it to every country. So then there's like forest foods everywhere, and then make it so prevalent. The pipe dream version of it is we would want to spread it beyond the boundaries of the wild core and then work with governments to, how intensive a telephone pole, like there's telephone poles when Eisenhower did the highway system and put an entire, I know I got to quit saying it. You're so right. I can't even blame you. You're right. The telephone, Eisenhower's highway system and telephone system, the modernization post World War II, they put in so many telephone poles. Well, if like any lineman would know how long it takes to install a telephone pole, it's a long time, right? Well, imagine if there would have been more foresight and you could just have all the roads and highways lined with fruit and nut trees that last for hundreds of years. So anywhere that you were driving in the country, you could stop if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you could go get all the Big Macs that you wanted, just like now. But if you didn't, if you're out of money, or if you just wanted to quit eating poison, then you could just pull over and you wouldn't have to pay anything. You just pick fruit and eat it. Okay, so that's the idea of wildcore. What else you got? I'm not retracting any messages. I don't do any censorship whatsoever. Whatever's going on is YouTube. If you're getting a message that's retracted, that's YouTube. Okay, so should we talk about Israel Shahak video? Okay, Israel Shahak video. So the really interesting thing about it is that you'd notice that the interviewer is an American, Israel Shahak. I believe he's an Austrian, he's an Austrian Jew living, he's in Israel. He's deceased now. He was in lived in Israel, and he was like a philosophical, I wouldn't describe him as philosophical. He's like a civil writer. Yeah, he's trying to direct so hard. Maxim says the interviewer is trying to direct so hard. That's exactly right, Maxim. So he's trying to, what's going on is that Israel is trying to give truth. He's trying to give valid, like real things. And he's a Jew. And so he's doing it on behalf of truth and all people and Jews. And then the interviewer can't handle what he's saying, right? Because the interviewer is more defensive of the Jews than Jews are, right? And that's what's coming through in the video, right? Like he's uncomfortable with what Israel is saying because Israel has criticism of the Israeli state. And so that was the most astonishing part about the video, aside from, the interesting historical chronology that he would lay out in observations. But it's really easy to see. I mean, the first thing that you notice when you watch it is the interview interrupting all the time and not shutting up. Right. Yeah. Do you see how Duncan? Did you see how he would like grab his face and stuff, and he would like twist and he would like do this? So that's all body language for being uncomfortable. So this guy that doesn't know anything about Judaism and Jews is talking to a Jew that's from Israel that was in a concentration camp, by the way. So he's like, for that time, for the 90s, he's like the epitome definition of the Jewish diasporic experience post World War era. And he can't even, the interviewer can't even handle shutting up for a minute to let the Jew talk about something that he's trying to say. And this is reflective of the relationship between Jews and Americans today, and forever, is pretty much since post World War II. Like World War II did it, and it persists until today. And a lot of that has to do with, I do think a lot of that has to do with the Holocaust propaganda. And I'm not insinuating anything about the Holocaust. I am saying that it goes above and beyond to propagandize, and I can prove it because, number one, so first of all, what you have to understand is that when America entered the war, World War II, nobody wanted to go. So if you look at Gallup polls, if somebody could please look up a Gallup poll on a search engine, type in Gallup poll, America willingness to enter the war, World War II, look that up and tell me what the percentages are. So they had a propaganda campaign in the United States to pump up the war, and they had to do multiple iterations because the Americans were super pissed off about World War I because they didn't want to go into World War I. In fact, Woodrow Wilson won the 1916 election on the campaign slogan, "He kept us out of the war," because the war was started in 1914 in Europe, and Woodrow Wilson did, in fact, keep America out of, yes, isolation was a huge deal. That's a part of American identity, is isolationism. It's not a fringe topic. 16% said yes, that they wanted to go to the war. 84% of the United States said they did not want to enter the war. So that was a 1939 Gallup, September 1st through 6th. Thank you, PK2 Productions. I appreciate that work. Thank you very much. This is the same thing as World War I. Nobody wanted to go to World War I. It had to go through a multi-year phase of propaganda that was done by Edward Bernays, who's considered the father of modern advertising. He developed all the methods that poured down into what you see now in commercials, like in psychological manipulation for commercials. That's all developed from Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is related to the guy that founded Netflix, if you didn't know that. So Edward Bernays in the United States made the propaganda program for getting America into World War I. They never wanted to go. Then they did it again. I mean, it wasn't Edward Bernays, I don't believe, in World War II, but they just did a repeat with the War Department propaganda, and it took a while, and then they finally got them. And and then they went in there. And that they didn't know. So once the United States went into the war against Germany, it was purely about finishing World War One to America. Like in terms of yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's true. His uncle, so Edward Bernays' uncle was Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychology. If you didn't know that. So America entering in World War II was 100% like, I don't understand why we're doing this bad idea, but I guess we're doing it. And so we just look at it like we're finishing World War I. So we went in there and started, now we're going to finish it. That's how they looked at it. Nobody knew about Holocaust or concentration camps. Not one fucking person knew about it until they went through Europe from the Western Front and from out of Africa. Nobody knew about it. And the way they learned about it is because I think Universal Pictures made the film with Eisenhower. Is that right? Yeah, Eisenhower. So Eisenhower, they made like films and then disseminated. Even then, it didn't pick up into the American sociosphere. It had to come through education. So they restructured education to teach Holocaust history. That's what I mean. When I say Holocaust propaganda, I mean that they had that it wasn't digestible for American citizens. They didn't care. And it had to be formatted into the education curriculum, across the country for like decades before it took. And that would have been like the late 1960s, early 70s. That's when America learned the story about the Holocaust. And that's what persists until now. So like the interviewer's sense of let's see, what do you say? Wake up. I don't even know how to read that. Was about finishing destroying the German people, killing their bloodline. Yeah, I already described this. Did you just get in this chat? I don't want to get into esoteric Judaism unless we're like as well versed on it as we can as non-Jews. Jews don't want us talking about that anyway. It's like religiously prohibited. Okay. So it's like, I don't want to get into it anyway, because people can only understand from their perspective. And if you're not reading like Jewish literature, then you're not going to have an understanding on their perspective. But they were told that Germany was Amalek by the principal rabbi in Jerusalem for Ashkenazi Jewry. He labeled them Amalek, and then so that officialized Germany, all German people as a racial people, to be Amalek. And Jews have a commandment. I believe it's a positive command. Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's a positive commandment they have to destroy the seed of Amalek, that the blotter's name, until it's gone from history. So that's why the Germans have it so hard, is because of that guy. It's what happened. Look it up. Dude's name was, here, I'll give you the guy's name. Dude's name was Josef Haim Sonnenfeld. So I've already discussed this. So if you just got in here, that was earlier. Okay. So don't get mad at me because you feel like I'm not talking about the plight of the German people or something like that. I've already discussed this. The last live stream, we went into in-depth about the blood wave from the Red Army coming into Germany. Okay, so we've already gone through that. So what else? What do you guys want to talk about? We talked about Israel Shahak. We talked about that interview. It's representative of the American relationship to the concept of Jewry, but they don't know. Americans do not know what Judaism is. Period. Evangelicals do not know what Judaism is. Period. It's a fact. They have no idea. What else you got? Do I still shoot light guns? Yeah. What do you mean? Does a duck get wet? Technically, no. They've got like really thick feathers that keep them dry. Be into a chicken raiser? They fucking should, because I'm eating. You know how many eggs this bad boy eats every day? I'm packing my proteins, man. I eat at least. I eat like at least. Yeah, down feathers. That's right. I eat at least. I'm eating at least. I don't know, 8 eggs a day minimum. Favorite kind of rooster? I really liked. I don't know. I really liked the Barred Rocks, but I had a Barred Rock and he was too hardcore, and he was perfect. He was great, but then when he got his like his second year, then he just started stabbing everybody, like wounding, like they were always gonna kill all my hens. It's too hard. Modern day Edomites. That's America. So Edom, Esau is like a patriarch. It's like the evil patriarch for Judaism. Esau is the United States. Esau is Western civilization. If you didn't know that. The other thing and then we talked about Germany being Amalek. Amalek is also the Iranians. So like the rabbinicism can decree anybody to be Amalek basically, and then that's done. That's a done deal. So they declared, they switch off between the Iranians and the Germans and whoever needs some golden love, I guess. Is that too rough? Is that too... there's no way to talk about this shit. I can't stick the knife in you easy. It's not my fault. I didn't write this shit. The Jews wrote this shit. I just read it. Yeah, kind of dry mouth. I'm gonna have to get another beer. I don't eat candy. Twist the knife. Yeah, right. What I love, the two best things I like thinking about this whole the whole situation is, number one, like all the people that think that they're like patriots and that just have no idea what they're getting into with this stuff, and they come into this chat and then they're like, oh fuck, Dugan's fucking racist, and then they like, they'll come around, they'll figure it out. Now, what I'm trying to do now, just to be clear, I believe that there is a peaceful solution to all this, but right now we are on the fucking super highway to mega pogrom in the United States. The American government doesn't want to say that, but that's what's happening. And I am trying to get in front of that. Okay. I'm a lover, not a fighter. And I am actually trying to stop my fellow Americans from fucking trying to eviscerate the Jews. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Even though I don't personally think that they treated people very well. I think there's some mending, there's some love mending that needs to be done. This is sincere mending that needs to be done. But everybody's been wrong. Our world is all fucked up, and we all did it together. It's all fucked up. I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm just saying that the people are like, yeah, that's all correct, except the Jews have nothing to do with it. And then I'm saying you are wrong, and you are ethically and intellectually dishonest, if that's your opinion. I've never met any Liberty Sailors. No, I've watched some videos with their testimony, and I think it's fucked up. I'm not saying we got to get I guess we got to talk about this, right? The situation is so difficult to talk about because you can't automatically. This is one of the phenomenons of human existence, right? Is that people only see every individual has their own individual sight, and that's connected to their creation. Okay, and so people make the assumption that everybody has the same site, and they make the assumption about groups having the same site. And that can be true intellectually, but it's not true on an individual level. Like people all have their own site. And so when I talk about this stuff, no matter what I say, people fall into the trap of like they hear it and they only hear what their brainwashed site told them. And so they say, well, Dugin doesn't like the Jews. Dugin hates Jews. Or they say, well, Dugin is shilling for the Jews. He's trying to protect them, but they did all these wrong things. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that everything on the earth is here for a purpose. If you're born and if you're making it so far and you haven't died, then you belong here. Okay. And the murder is wrong. You shouldn't murder people. And the only reason that all this shit has gotten out of control is because of the extra physical force of the way that we use money as a modern society. And it's completely unnecessary. And I know that when I say that, people don't understand, and they believe that, you know, they're like, what? We need to have money. You don't need money. The humans that existed before the invention of money. Money is a relatively new invention in the system of how humans trade to survive. By now, because we have the computer and code language like zeros and ones, by now we can keep track of huge assortments of data and the most fanciful and complicated domain orders to be able to trade anything. Like we could have an entire trade system with direct trade where things just rotate and cycle and cycle and cycle in a queue until they change out for something that somebody needs. And it eliminates all fraud, waste, abuse, and efficiency errors. And instead of building something like that, we've chosen to try to figure out how we exploit the perfect reflection of machine language from zero and ones, which is a reflection of creation, really. And we've exploited it to try to exploit people to gain wealth. And it's materialistic, and it's the wrong direction for humanity to go. And as long as we do that, no one will have any time to ever think about their purpose. We don't have any time. Everybody's working all the time. We don't need to work this much. Nobody in the world needs to work as much as they're working. Nobody has to have the slow death suffering of just like a pointless existence, the way that we are doing now. Starting to sound like a communist. Well, I don't think you know what communism is. So fuck off. How about that? Yeah, if you want somebody to just reinforce your delusional opinion, you just go turn on Fox News or CNN. That's not me. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to serve you something a little bitter. Because we need it. We've already done all the relaxing that we could have done for the next. We wasted all the relaxing periods for like the next 10 generations in our bullshit games that we're playing here. You know? We've already wasted all of our relaxing time. It's not time to relax anymore. It's time to think and be motivated. Apple flavored dip. Ew. Yeah, but when I say wake up, see here, did you guys get what I was saying when I was talking about how we're trained as American, right? Because we're like the world government hammer, America is. So we're trained psychologically from our life for the last 100 years to just never, you know, it's like we view every problem as like, well, we just need to kill it. And if we can't kill it, then it's defeat. And then in the process of that, we've lost everything. So like, we don't have any skill here. We've sent out all of our production that we make for ourselves. We don't produce enough food to even feed ourselves. We have a completely batshit insane distended supply line that brings in all the shit that we consume. We consume way more than we need to, and we don't get any of the things that we really want. They have to keep on coming out with, like organic food labels and, gluten-free this and all this shit. And it's because like we're spending all of our time working at jobs that we don't want, that don't fulfill us and lead us into despair, you know, spiritual despair. And if you didn't, we don't have to have any of that. We don't have to pay more. Like an apple from an apple tree is freaking delicious as it is. But all the apples that you buy in a store are like 3 different phenotypes. There's hundreds of phenotypes. You just can't get them because there's nobody that has orchards here in the United States. You see what I'm saying? So like to wake up means that you don't have to go fight in a Chinese war. We have to outpace the control measures, right? So when you start a business and then you get a loan, whoever gives you the loan has a say in your business then, right? Well, the way that the United States is set up, the modern economic system is like everybody's just getting loans. So and that's on the individual level, the municipal level, the county level, the state level, the federal level, the national level, the international level. I mean, everything. And so it's okay. I was just joking too about my response to your comment. It's fine. Don't worry. You can't fit me. We are taking loans at every single level, basically. Like in the the way that the economic system is set up is that way. And so, you know, you lose choices. That's how we've lost our freedom. That's how we've lost. That's why you're paying. That's why we're all paying property tax on shit that we own. That's why you have to have a driver's license. That's why you have to pay recurring fees for your car, and you know, that's why you have to earn money. Like you go out and work, they're going to tax you at the federal level on income tax. So they take some of the money that you already got, even though they're doing programs to like try to stimulate the economy. It's like, well, if you just didn't have taxes, that would stimulate a little bit, wouldn't it? And then so they're gonna pay you, but take it back, and then you're gonna get charged at the state level, and then they're gonna take your money and they're gonna make a stupid fucking billboard that tells you some smart ass comment about like something that rhymes with buckle up, like that's what your money is being spent on. So it's like you're being, and this is just like, it's like a beast that's robotic, or it's really like a non-physical beast that manifests in between all the stupid things that we've built. And they all act as control measures, which keep us from freeing ourselves. Just promote accelerationism? I don't have to. It's already happening. I mean, that's what's happening right now. You're about to go to war with China. Do you have any idea how bad this Chinese war is going to be? Like, I don't think people understand. Like, I'm going to put it this way. The way that things are going right now, all you people that watch this and go and are like watching these videos and you're going, man, I just can't, like, dude, this is wild. I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to go to war with China, and at the end of it, you are not going to have a United States. And then what that transitions into is going to be like a totally fucked up ultimate communism clown thing. And then you're going to go into a theocratic world government. That is what is going to happen. And you're not going to like that. I promise. We can talk about the details of that at a later time. Okay, yeah. So steps, that's a good question. Can I please be excused for a minute to go grab a beer? Would that be all right? Would that be permissible for you guys? Okay, I'm gonna grab a beer. I'll be right back. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Everything okay, guys? What's all that hate? Do I have hate? I got it right here, Jade. It'd be right here. Okay, so another thing we should discuss. Somebody asked a really good question. It doesn't matter. I don't want to promote any brands. If I wasn't so lazy, I would have brewed my own beer by now. Yeah, there's gonna be a draft. So this is another point that I should mention. So are you guys familiar with the conflicts in South America from the 80s and 90s? It would be like El Salvador, Guatemala, Colombia, Brazil. Yeah, yeah, Contra Wars, but each of those states had their own. They have their own internal conflicts. They're analogous. They're like you know how the communists had a bunch of satellite state conflicts when they expanded communism through the Cold War era. It's the equivalent of that, but all of those states had some military advisory from a certain country. Okay, currently the one that's getting worked on recently is Brazil. So right now, Brazil, there's a certain Middle Eastern country that rhymes with Bisrael that is that is regularly going to Brazil and is really getting cozy. Okay, so you guys need to understand. You guys need, this is important. This is important. No shit. Which could be shit. So you need to understand this. This is also coincidentally, now I need to put in here that the conflicts in El Salvador and Guatemala and shit, all those old Aztec Empire places that became countries, their internal conflicts from the 80s and 90s, coincidentally but completely unrelated, had no relation to the current topic whatsoever, may have also had a bunch of visits from a certain country that rhymes with Zisrael. Okay, so what that means is that because this is happening right now, what else has been coming from South America? Let's not be too crude here. Okay, let's try to keep it somewhat respectful. Who's this guy? Somebody asked, what does that have to do with guns? Are you new here, Joe? You know what time it is? Yeah, they're bringing. So there's mass immigration, refugees, right, coming in from South America. Okay. All right. Yeah. Do you know who's bringing in? Do you know who's bringing in refugees from South America? Immigrants, what they call immigrants. Yeah. So. Yeah. So okay. So here we go. No, here I'm gonna help you out. Could I get some? May I please have an assistant here? So I have several assistants. You guys can like race to it, so then people can read your comments. And you can find the information. I'll tell you exactly what to do. So if you could you please go to GuideStar Navigator, which is a charity navigator. It lists all of the 501c3s, the NGOs in the United States. And could you go, they should have a hot topic tab where it's like, lets you pick on political topics related to NGOs, and then find the one for immigration. And then I just want you to take the top 3 of the NGO's names of whatever that is. Did you guys get that? Go to the Navigator, Charity Navigator, GuideStar Charity Navigator. I believe that's what it's called. They're gonna have lists. They're gonna have hot topics. Click on the one about immigration. It's gonna be about immigration or refugees. It's gonna be for the United States, and then click on the top. Just pick what look like the top three. Pick what look like the representative of Charity Navigator. Pick those, and then if you could write the top three organizations in the chat, then we'll go to the next step. Now, let's not be crude at it. Then somebody's not gonna be able to keep their fingers off their telephone, and they're gonna have to type in things and say bad things about me that aren't true. Okay, here we go. James Stone. He's got American Immigration Lawyers Association, Immigration Equality. We need a third one. Don't drive drunk. Oh, you're driving. Okay. Yes, Colin, this is school. Colin Foster, I'm taking you to fucking school. Sit your ass down. National Immigration Law Center. Okay, so would one person please, or it could be the same guy, James is pretty high speed. Could somebody now search the names, this term, National Immigration Law Center, Form 990. And you're going to look for a PDF. It's going to be the required, IRS required publication. It's required by law for them to publish it. It's going to pull up a PDF. And then when you go through National Immigration Law Center's most current PDF, and then read their, you're going to go down like a couple pages. You're going to see a section on it where it has people that get paid that are the employees of the organization. You're going to see pay amounts, and you're going to see their names, and then it's going to have their position. It's going to be like director, president. It's going to be like treasurer, secretary. Okay. And then can somebody else? No, don't pay $50. It's free. The IRS document, the Form 990 is free. Don't do it through the navigator. Go to a search engine and type in the NGO name and Form 990. They're required by law to post it on their website. They have to publish it the maximum they can delay is like 3 years. So it has to be, you have to have at least they'll have one by the earliest, or the earliest period would be like 2018. Okay, so somebody is doing somebody do Centerville Immigration Forum. Somebody else do, we've already got National Immigration Law Center going. Somebody else do Immigration Equality, Form 990 on that. Somebody else do American Immigration Lawyers Association. American Immigration Lawyers Association. Somebody pull up the Form 990 for that. It should be free. It has to be on their website. Once you get them, okay, who's got results? What organization are we run through names first? National Immigration. Okay, what do you got? National Immigration. Shoot off the names. Do you have that, Firebug? Okay. Josh has the lawyers. Josh, go ahead and start firing off names. Who else? Who else has another one? Yep, keep going. PK2, you find names it's usually about 2 pages down, 3 pages down. They're going to have, it's going to say compensation on there. They're going to be compensated. They're going to be the employees. Yep. Okay. PK2 has Centerville's immigration pulled up. Go ahead. There's more than one name, isn't there? You should have like 5 or 6. Yep, Anastasia Tonello, Aaron Morris, Marquetta Lint, LINDT. Keep on going. Feuerstein? Is Feuerstein name on there? Or you for real? Jennifer Minier. My Twitter account is now Doug1337. Jerry McKinney, Fritz von Schnitzelnazi. There's no way that's the real name. No way. Yeah, I got it. Alice Foltz. PK2 is coming with Centerville Immigration Forum. Alice Foltz, Ed Duggan, that's my dad. Brian G. Perez Brito. That's the Spanish connection. Jim Daniels, he's the token white guy. Yeah. Yeah, there will be a lot of Hispanics for Spanish contacts, obviously. But I think we get the point, right? Like by now, do we get the point? Or do we need to look up some more? I'm pretty satisfied. I'm not like a master, I don't do like a lot of puzzles or anything, but I think I'm good. If you guys are satisfied, we can move on. Everybody good? Is anybody a special kid here that doesn't understand what's going on? Jim Lloyd, what's an Algonquin? Well, Algonquin is like I think it's like a particular tribe in the Illinois region. So that'd be like I think, right? In the north, or is it Michigan? But the like almost like we used to have Missouri here. That's actually, so when you hear people from city often mistake like when someone says Missouri in Missouri, like people from Missouri that are the older back they go, they'll say Missouri. And so people from like East Coast and West Coast, like yuppies will hear that and they'll be like, whoa, dumb hick doesn't even know how to pronounce Missouri. He has to add an A on the end just to put some twang in there, It's actually they're pronouncing that's the Missouri Indian tribe. You don't say it Missouri, you say Missouri. Just so you know. So it's actually the Hicks are more culturally sensitive than you. It's okay. Everybody's got to be born somewhere, Jersey. Don't worry about it. I can tell you want to go to Idaho. I can tell. Listen to your heart. Idaho is amazing. Amazing. Yeah, Missouri's cool, man. Missouri, we got like on the Kansas border, we got the like Missouri's got the only people that fucked up the Civil War, which would be Jesse James and Bloody Bill Anderson, just straight up running like militias, not even related to the Civil War. They're just like, there is a Civil War going on, and we do like to shoot people. I think our stuff is lining up here, you know, but that's Jesse Jameson and Blade Bill Anderson, and they just like wore Confederate clothing. Urbanization is pretty bad. It's a very unfortunate situation, and unfortunately, those people that are urbanites are Quantrill. Well, I don't know. Was Quantrill from Missouri? Quantrill's in Missouri, right? Isn't he the prior to Bloody Bill Anderson? He's like the superior to Bloody Bill Anderson. Sweet. 12B on the MOS code. You get 100% route clearance, man. They fucked you. That's what they made the whole MOS EOD class for. They used to. Now, they did have us do, like we were doing EOD. So we would like, when I went to Ramadi, I went to anybody that's familiar with Ramadi, you know where the COP is, right? Well, if you went north of the COP would be like the Army unit, typically. Like Army and SEALs are there. If you go north of that, then you hit like the Marine outpost, and like on Michigan. And then we went when we were like ripping in with the old unit, and we were doing our right seat rides with them. Then we would be like pulling in this Marine Corps COP. And then we were like we did our business there, like talking to whoever we were talking to. I just stayed in the fucking truck because I'm just an idiot. Nobody's talking to me. And then we're like driving out, and my LT's like, hold up a second. And he stops the truck, gets out, and he goes over and he just pulls a fucking like it was like 20 pounds of Simtex wrapped in duct tape with a saw blade contact switch on it in the driveway of the COP for the Marines, and they've been driving by it like all day and just didn't even know. And so we just like, and he threw it in the back of our fucking truck. And I'm like, LT, we're gonna die on day one. Like, you're not gonna be very cool when you die on day one. So it wasn't day one. It was probably like 2 weeks in, but it was like the first day of like, we got to our outpost, our combat outpost where we were gonna live with the bats. And then we were like actually going and doing operations. Oh, nice. Yeah, my LT just straight up threw it in the back of the truck. Like, no big deal. I think he was trying to show off. He was successful because I was fucking impressed. He's my own LT. I was impressed. I've never seen somebody try to kill me that hard. Yeah, don't give up your First Amendment ever. If it comes to yeah, my LT, I have multiple. So the dude that made that ID also made other ones in the town, and we would run into him, and you could tell because it's like he would make them all the same. So like I could tell by the way that he was wrapping his Simtex, like it was like Russian Simtex, and he was wrapping it with like a packaging tape, like UPS packaging tape, to make it waterproof, and then he was they would fold a saw, they'd have two saw blades, and they would put like a piece of rubber tire in between, and they'd wrap it in electrical tape. And then it'd be like, when you drove over it, then you would connect the two, and the other end's obviously to a high voltage battery set up in series. And then there would be like a cap in it, it was like a simple drive over ID. And it would just vaporize shit. There was this cat. We had we had the H statement, which is like ground penetrating radar for finding caches and shit. And I was walking around with this other cat, and it was me and this other cat were the only ones out of the whole platoon that got trained on the shit for some reason. Somebody's great idea. So every time that anybody in the task force was like, we need ground penetrating radar, then they'd call us up, and then we'd have to be out there walking around like idiots in a circle. And he was like using his GPR, and like he was like, oh, I think there's something here. And then it was like there was nothing there. It was just sand where he was going. And then he kicked with his boot, a Simtex switch like came up, and he almost stepped on and got vaporized. Like he was like sliding his feet, and then he tapped the corner of his foot against against the saw blade switch, and like it was like sand, you know, it was just like reminded, it was like moon sand, and it was outside the city. We're like out by the I don't know where the fuck we were. I think we were by Donkey Town or something. And he like kicked it. He just like was walking backwards. He was scared of what he was looking for, which was just moon dust. He was getting like a false retard reading or something. And so he like scooted backwards, and his heel like came into contact with the detonation switch for the IED. And then it just wasn't, he just didn't step on it exactly, so it didn't go off. But it like popped out of sand, and then we were like, don't move. Don't move. Don't move, bro. Let me get away, and then walk backwards. I'm just kidding. He's a good guy. What's the eyes? Yeah, we had crazy shit like that, man. There's so many crazy stories. I'll tell you what's what's a really interesting thing that anybody's in a combat unit will know is like the first realization in combat that like you're not special and that it's okay if you die. That's probably like the worst. It's the worst catharsis. Like there's catharsis that you go through at different levels when you're in military service, like fighting for a country, you know. Like you get through the whole like, you know, like honor thing, like I'm here because I love my country and stuff, and that always stays there. It's not like that goes away, but that's like 100%, you know, like that, and then like the badass aspect. That's when you get in. Once you get in, then it goes into like, wait, I actually don't know fucking anything at all. I'm a piece of shit, and everybody knows more than me. And then you're like going through like that catharsis. Then you go through like the struggle of like, okay, I can either keep being a piece of shit or I gotta get like as good or better than everybody else. Then once you get through that, then like in your combat phase, and it's like you go through this catharsis where you're like something will happen. Like I'll tell you what mine was. Okay, so my event was like we were driving into a small town to go there at night, and this was like one of those dumb patrols. So if you're ever in the military, if your unit is having you just drive around, not doing actions on an objective, then your unit is picked to get shot at. Like that's it. Like it's not a good tactic. That's just how every army does it. It's a terrible tactic. It should never be done. You should never be moving or doing anything unless it's for an action on an objective, ever. You hold fucking still. Just don't fucking move unless you need to, right? Or unless you need to get away from where you are because you're going to die. Besides that, dumb. So we're like driving into this town. It's like 2 a.m., you know, like drive up a row of rocks across the ground. This is like an old, like this town is like, you know, probably been there for like 1,000 years. You know what I mean? It's very old. So we're like people still live there. Like no big deal. You know, there's no difference between today or yesterday. And we're like driving up there. And we're like get to one of the entrances, and we're like, oh, there's rocks all the way across the road. And we're like, man, I don't know what that is, but I don't fucking like it. Let's drive around. Like, drive around. Get like go into the town, look around. We're driving blackout, right? So you don't drive around with headlights on, right? If you're not, you know, if you're not stupid. So you don't have any headlights on. It's all IR and nods. So like they don't really know that we're there. They just hear our engines humming around between their houses, and they're like, "What is going on?" And then we don't see anybody, so we're like, "Okay, we'll leave." So we come back out, and then we're going out. Well, we go the other way around the rocks. We're in a Humvee. We're in a Frag 4 Humvee. So and then our lead vehicle fucking just blows up, like fucking explodes. The pieces of the Humvee like came in. I was sitting in the back seat behind the driver, and I just see like I was sleeping. Actually, I was just like sleeping on mission with nods on, like racked out in the back seat. Fucking like we had this gunner that was kind of, you know, I mean, he was cool, but he was just like, he would get annoying sometimes, you know, do dumb stuff that would get you irritated. So I was sitting in the back. When the Humvee exploded in front of me, I was sleeping. I thought that he dropped his 50 cal ammo can down and it like hit the metal. So then I was like, I'm not going to say his name, but I was like, what? Don't drop the can, you know? And then I look forward, and it's just like, I just see the back of the driver's seat in front of me. And it's just like spiderweb fucking like pieces of the Humvee from in front of us, like embedded in front of the fucking truck. And I was like, wait, that wasn't an ammo can. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm in Iraq, aren't I? And then And then, so anyway, so we ended up, so shit gets really fun. So they got the vehicle basically like strips apart, right? Like frag four is good because you're not gonna get penetration, but blows apart everything. And your doors get locked, not because there's locks, but because they get impacted so heavy from the high velocity explosive that they will like seize and shit. Like the metal will like bend into each other. You can't open your fucking doors. So the Humvee just became like a pod, and it's just like sunk in the dirt. You can't see it because everything's fucking blown all to hell, but they're just in a can. And it broke like one guy's arm, and another guy had like a twisted leg or something. That was it. So it wasn't bad. Like nobody got killed or anything like that. It was just like everybody was like, you know, freaked out because we thought everybody died. Nobody died. But so and we couldn't get him on the radio. So we're sitting there, we're like, hey, or no, we weren't yelling. We weren't yelling. That's stupid. Don't yell. We were trying to get him on the radio. We were like, hey, over, are you alive? Yeah. And and then they were all dazed up, right? So like they're not gonna respond immediately. Like all that shit where they go like, okay, we're gonna take one green chem light and one red chem light, and we're gonna wrap it in tape and we're gonna put it on the dashboard. And then when you guys hit a fucking ID, if you're still fucking alive, you pull that green light out and you pop it, you're good to go. Throw it on the top. Like you're gonna be like rationally, rationally like, am I good? Kim like, like what the fuck? Nobody's saying they're like they've got like broken arms and stuff. Probably thinking about like, well, should I just shoot myself now or what? Because this sucks. Like they're not thinking about the Kimites. So we're waiting for like a half hour, trying to not a half hour. That's way exaggerated. Maybe like 15 minutes though. Like or 10. It's probably even true. It's probably like 8 minutes before they start like coming out and signaling, right? And we're in the middle of the desert, so there's nobody like we didn't shoot anybody around. We got thermal and shit. Like nobody's coming up to us, right? So like our main thing right now is like don't blow up anything else. So we're just trying to figure out if they're alive. And then so we get out or they start coming out of the gunner's seat, the gunner's hatch. They can't get out the doors. So they start getting out of the gunner's hatch and they start like I think like stand on top of the truck and wait for like the highest ranking person there to tell them what to do. Because here was the thing. Back then, this normal tactic was you would hit an IED, right? And I saw this all the time. It's terrible, but like anybody that's in the war at that time knows that this is what's up. So they would put like a mobility kill IED in there, meaning that like they knew it wouldn't penetrate a frag four or whatever, but it would like blow off your tire and like your like all the shit connecting your tire, blow your fucking knuckles off and maybe even your hub. Maybe you'd lose your whole tire. That would be like about it. Then they would have a secondary buy. And what would happen would be people would come up to try to like say, because everybody's like, it's almost like when radio, like when people first learn to use a radio, they think about movies where they saw Army using radio. And then they're like, calling up shit during training exercises, like screaming in the radio, like, we need more 240 ammo stat. It's like, that's not the way that you fucking talk. I scared my chickens, sorry. You don't talk like that. You never talk. You could be getting bayoneted in the gut and calling stuff. The way that you talk on the radio is you're like, Roger, we're getting bayoneted in the gut right now. And we're going to need a quick reaction force out here because I'm not going to be here. Like that's how you talk on the radio. Okay. So these guys are all standing on top of the truck, right? And then they like get on back. And then my officer's like, he's like dazed, like he's like kind of like shook up. Like you tell like it cooked his rocker a little bit, right? So he's like not all there. He took like most of the blast, I think. So he comes back. But he's also like hardcore, right? Like we're trying, like this dude's like Ranger Slapper, Pathfinder. So he like knows his shit. And he's an officer, but he's prior enlisted too. So he's got like all the shit. Like he's like the fucking Iraq War Jesus, right? So he's coming back and he's like all dazed up and everybody's like, what do you want to do, sir? And he's just like, he's just like thinking about killing everything in his eyes. And then he's like, and then he like looks at me and then he's like, because I know how to run MarkBot, like the robot, like the bomb robot, right? Like I'm the only, like everybody's retarded. So it's like, of course, like Dugan's gonna know how to do it. So he's like, Dugan, get that fucking mark bot and get it over there. We're going to look for secondaries. So like I'm driving it over there 2:00 in the morning, like with nods on, with a fucking sign on it, something that I found in the truck, like over my head for light discipline, like on the ground in the desert, driving around these cars. There's people like slightly moving their vehicles and shit with no awareness that I'm there. So I'm just like trying to get crushed by a vehicle because they're all psyched up from the IED going off, and happy that nobody's dead. And then like I get the mark bot up there and get stuck. And I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, you know, if I don't tell LT about this, then we don't have to do anything about it. Like I can just tell him that I'm driving around because I know it's coming, right? So the LT comes over to me. He's like, sorry, I got boogers in my nose. So LT comes. So LT's like, he's like, what do you got? You know? And I'm like, sir, the mark bot's it's immobilized right now. It's stuck on a rock. And he's like, you know, so he looks at me and he's like, okay, walk over there and get it. Like, he says that, and I'm like, oh man. And so I get up. So now it's like I'm doing what they call the death walk. So people usually do like some kind of death walk or snipe. Like if you're in an area where it's like if you see somebody get shot by a sniper and then you gotta go walk around that area, you're gonna do the sniper walk. Sniper walks when, even though it makes no tactical sense and you never had it from any training whatsoever, you're going to imagine in your head that you're going to get shot by a sniper. And then so you're going to anticipate what the sniper sees in the scope, and you're going to try to put that in your movements and your feet, and you look like a fucking idiot. You look like somebody in a video game that is like, got their joystick like going crazy, right? That's what the sniper walk is. I'm doing the death walk. The death walk is when you know that you're going to step on a secondary IED. So he's like, you're thinking in your head, you're like, okay, like I'm going to die. Okay. And then you just boom, 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 boom. And you're just like walking out there and you're like, yeah. Like I don't worry about death. You're totally worried about death. You don't want to die. So I get out there, don't blow up, grab the mark bot. We unfortunately, I don't like this part of the story, but this is just the way it is. So what happened after that, we called a task force asked for an MAA to come out, and they were going to grab a Humvee. Before they got there, we didn't want to make a bunch of noise. The ID had gone up. So we went through the village and we arrested every single military-aged male in the entire village. We didn't arrest them. We snatched them out of their beds while they were sleeping. So they all woke up like no lights and nothing power. So they're just like, what's going on? And we have like, we're all knotted out and shit with like lasers and shit, you know, and we're just like, wakey, everybody outside. We get them all outside. It's like fucking like 32 degrees outside, freezing, and it's raining, and they're all wearing like white pajamas, and we get them all in line. And I shouldn't be laughing because I really don't like this story. Like I think the Iraqi people deserve absolute independence, and we should have never gone there. Okay. Let me just put that clear before I continue on, because I'm just morbid. So I laugh, you know what I mean? But this doesn't have anything to do with denigrating Iraqis, right? For real. So so like we put them out there on the ground. They're in their white jammies and shit. And then like, it actually ended up working out really well because the Iraqis are so hardcore. They're just like, like, we're going to kill them. We're just going to shoot them all in the head and throw them in a hole. That's what they think, right? So they're just like terrified. They're just like, you know, like crying for bloody murder. You know, of course we're not going to do that. We don't do that. We don't kill people, murder people most of the time, most of us, right? So you know, we told them not to do it again. we said, you're bad for doing that. It was very nice, and do not do that again. We mean it. And then we left. And then that was pretty much it. And they didn't like us very much, and I don't blame them. And if I was them and somebody did that to me, you better fucking execute me on the field. I'll tell you that. Okay, what's up? Now what you guys want to talk about? What time is it? Oh, we got plenty of time. It's not even late. So hopefully you didn't mind that that little that was like a sidetrack story, but I figure you guys could like some entertainment because all this stuff is so heavy that we talk about. I got out in 2009. What other stories? Okay, you want to? You got a funny story? I got a funny story. I got a hot boxing story. You want a hot box story? Do I have boogers on my face? I want to make sure I didn't. Let me blow my nose real quick. I got something in my nose that's driving me insane. Okay. Is my nose bleeding? Should I do a rated PG version? Is that what you're saying? You're going to do a PG version? It's going to be hard, man. I don't really have a PG brain. I don't recommend anything I do for children, by the way. It can be very confusing if children hear me talk. And Carnicon, too. I never said, people love showing Carnicon to kids, so I was like, I don't let my kid watch I'm not supposed to talk about my kids on here. NC-17, please. Yeah. So anyway, I was going to the Porta John one time. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, what do you guys want to talk about? Ultimax, yeah, Ultimax is the shit. You know that CAG ran Ultimaxes in Iraq. I love you too. A funny story? Okay. All right. So there was this we were on, what was it? OP Jones. We were on OP Jones and we were like, so when you do an OP, you got to watch a road, right? And you're watching them, like, the idea is that you would sit there in an APC overwatching like an intersection from a distance where it would be hard for them to shoot you or hit you with an RPG. And then you would sit there and you would like watch the road, and then you would, if anybody stopped for too long or like put something down the road, then it would like, you would either make the decision like, okay, they're either going to die or we're going to let them go and somebody's going to go meet up with them, And then so we're at the OP. We're on this OP in the 113. We're in OP in the I'm ATF, and then so we're on the OP, and we took sniper fire. So you started getting like sniper fire, right? But this is Ramadi, so it's not like there's so much shooting going on all the time, and sniper fire. It's like nobody even cares. It's like we call it, you call up the task force or whatever, and they're like, all right, guys, like, just, try to do a good job. We're like, okay, we got like 6 hours left on the shift. So we're like, we're in a 113 and we're like, Charlie Mike in the mission. And then we're watching this thing and we're just getting like pot shots. You can't find it anywhere, like trying to find it for like a while, like a long time, like hours. And it's like obviously very far away through a bunch of buildings. It's like a heavily urbanized area. So we're talking like, multi-story buildings everywhere, and like people walking all over the place. And there's just some asshole like way back, like probably like shooting between a crack or something. Like, we can tell 180 degrees where it's coming from. That's it. And then so they're like pinging our 113 with rounds. And then so we're just like, all right, we'll button up. We're in here. It's good. We'll finish the shift. Right. Well, like right before this happened, somebody from another squad came in and they like brought a bunch of MREs that were like, and they had like rat fucked all the MRE boxes to get all the good shit. So then everybody ate, like they like doubled, like took multiple MREs from supply, took out all the good meals, tossed all the bad meals and put them into one box and then brought them in. So that meant that everybody in the 113 ate as much as they possibly could, right? So then this happened before the sniper fire started happening. It happened that morning. We started taking sniper fire. Well, then we're in there for a few hours, and then people start having to take a dump, right? So we're like in this 113 packed with like a squad and a half, and then people that are like 230 pounds just start having to like guys, I'm gonna have to take a dump. And then like we tried one where somebody threw a smoke grenade and they're like trying to shit outside behind a T-wall, and it just seemed kind of dangerous because he kept on getting shot at. He did it okay, but he was getting shot at. So he like, you know, we decided that's like not, it's not worth getting killed over taking a dump. Surprisingly, you get shot at a lot when you're taking a dump. You'll find out more. So we're like, get back in there. We're buttoned up, and then it happens. It's like we just get an MRE box, and then people start shitting into an MRE box. And then we were buttoned up because we were taking sniper fire. So we're like, you're like breathing in the sewer gas of like 10 grown men shitting into a box, like 2 girl, 1 cup, but 10 pretty ugly guys shitting into a box. And it was hell. And that's it. That's the story. Welcome to Iraq. Yeah, of course we tossed it out the door. No, we took the box of shit and we just had seconds. I mean, what are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, we threw that shit so far. We fucking threw that hatch open. We chucked it as far as we could. The smell doesn't go anywhere. When you have 10 people shitting in a tin can, 10 grown men shitting in a tin can, it's not like the smell is just like whoop and just leaves. It's in the fucking 113. Come on. I'm just giving you a hard time, by the way. That's when you light a match, yeah. Demo, baby. No, JG didn't. It's a horrible story. I don't even recommend it. Really more of a nightmare. Yeah, I know. Plumber's got it rough, man. You ought to see the guys that do the like the fucking sewer pump repairs. Like, so cities will contact for like a sewer. You've got like, you know, you'll have like pumps, like intermittent pumps through the distribution of the sewer system that pump sewage. When those pumps go down, they're like very expensive. Like they're like large you know, they're like tens of thousands of dollars. Big ass heavy pump units that push shit around. And so the cities will like contract somebody to come in and repair it. And so they're sending these guys in to just do that. That's all. And they'll fucking go down there with like nothing. Like they'll be going down there with like a flannel and a fucking like big gulp from the gas station. And it's not like they're idiots. Like they're competent dudes. They're like electrical engineers and like you know, experienced foremen in doing like pump replacement stuff. But they're just like so used to it, they just don't even give a fuck. I'm just like, man, I'm not like that. I'm like, if I accidentally get poo on me or something, like on the tip of my finger, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna go home and have a shower. You know what I mean? Like I don't like human feces. I'm not into it. What do I miss the most about Iraq before it ever started? What's a poop man in SF? I don't even know. Don't even know. I'm just a dirty leg. Yeah, not in the scat exactly. Hopefully that's clear. I've never tried the smokeless tobacco. I have seen Generation Kill. Am I 11 Bravo? No, I'm a 12 Bravo, or I was a 12 Bravo. No hard giants. I'm not talking about you. I never went to Afghanistan. I'm only Iraq. Do I have a plate carrying armor these days? Yes. I have a mobile armor set up that's on wheels, so that if my house ever gets raided, I just get behind it and shoot from behind it, and then bullets can't hit me. I'm gonna put flower pots on the front of it for decoration. It's not a killdozer. It's just a fucking half-inch air 500 on a welded up on a with a platform to stand on and then wheels on it. Doesn't matter. Go ahead, FBI. Don't even talk about the tunnels. You might as well fucking add that in there too. Have fun looking for them. Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, if you want to, the best thing that you could possibly do, if you have the ability, is holes in the ground. Like survivability is holes in the ground using the earth. So if you like tunnels, like the only reason, like, have you guys ever seen the raid of who's this fucking face? The old dude, the narco guy, old Mr. Narco in South America that just got arrested maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago or something. Or El Chapo. You guys seen the old Chapo raid with the Mexican army? You see that raid? They go in, Mexican army goes in there with all they got like Mark 18s and hand grenades, and they just frag the fuck out of his compound and then go through there with Mark 18s. It's pretty fast actually, if like for how chaotic it was, for like, because they're getting like return fire and shit, you know, at the beginning. And they kill all of his guys, and then he's like not there, and they're like, what the fuck? And that's not in the video. But then what happens is like later, then they figure out he had a tunnel, you know, and if you can find a picture of the tunnels, but Yodis are out there. So the the way that you survive on the raids is a tunnel. Like you won't survive a raid without a tunnel, an escape tunnel. Period. What do you need a thermal suit for? Yeah, I know they live right down there. I watch them wake up and then they walk around. I'm not scared of them. They're dogs. They're not gonna fuck with me because they're terrified of me. If they did fuck with me, I have a rifle right here. Hopefully they don't know how to open the door, guys. If you like eating gross stuff, yes. If you're Asiatic. Well, that's what coyotes do. They eat other animals. Shouldn't blame them. They're fine. Cats I don't do, unfortunately. I mean, I'm cool with cats. I like them. I got like minor cat allergy. I just don't like being around. They're too hairy too for me. I don't like having all that hair all over the place all the time. I gotta clean it up. It's a lot of work. Why is it the USP? Yeah. No, I like an M4 more than a Mark 18. Mark 18 is nice if you need something really short, but I'd rather M4 than a Mark 18. ZPAP and bulge. I have no idea what you're talking about. ZPAP? You mean like a Zastava? Like a Zastava AK? Is that what you're talking about? Like a PAP? Oh, what do you want to know about it? Does it shoot bullets? Yes. Do you know how to kill yellow flies? Probably like everything else. For initiating the war with China. Okay, here's a question. We're going to talk about this. What This is actually worth something. What do you think the initiating event will be for the war with China? I think it will be. You should look at the past, right? It makes sense if you don't know the future, look at the past, right? So in the past year, the Japanese initiated. The Japanese did not initiate World War II. The United States initiated World War II and coaxed Japan into attacking them because that's what they needed to get into the war against Germany. Because the Americans didn't want to go to World War II. Okay, if you're not aware, it was hugely unpopular and nobody wanted to do it, and they were very resistant, and they had to create the Japanese attack to get in there. So you're going to have like you see now with the Taiwan Strait. The 7th Fleet is operating regularly in the Taiwan Strait. They've been there like 4 times in the past fucking month, right? Like in firing range nearly of Chinese aircraft. So Taiwan is like off to the southeast of mainland China. And it's hilarious because if you go to like Wikipedia, you just know that there's like some fucking spooks, some fucking international spook motherfuckers in there writing the language, because they'll write about if you go to Taiwan description of Wikipedia, it will be like it's an independent land that's like, off a little bit from, China, just like Japan and the Philippines. And it's like nowhere is the distance between Japan and China the same as Taiwan and China. Like they try to sell it up so much like it's like, I don't know. I just don't know where the misunderstanding came from, where the Chinese thought this was their land. It's like a fucking island that's broke off from their mainland. It'd be like if you said that Florida wasn't the United States or something. You know what I mean? It's like fucking retarded. But they're doing drills through the strait between Taiwan and China, between stolen China and mainland China. They're doing drills right now to try to foment an escalation event. And then China right now is like canceling drills and shit because they're kind of trying to make it look like they're trying to not get into a fight. They're both on the same side. They're fighting each other. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then God help you. Rogue province. Oh, I thought you said rough province. Rough province, bro. Yeah, the Taiwan is a like fucking I haven't even looked into the history, so I'm not gonna even speculate on exactly which entity it is. It's some kind of intelligence, not intelligence, why do I want to say that? It's some kind of it's a a bunch of spooks and diplomats got together conspiratorially and created Taiwan. That's what it is, and it's a response to the Cold War. They're Chinese. People in Taiwan are fucking Chinese and sort of fucking Chinese. The Mao communist government and the Taiwanese non-communist government, the same fucking people, and there's no difference. And it's just like a fake thing that's left over from the Cold War. Let me see what this person. Yeah. That is true. Yeah, they did flee there. Yes. That's right. Yeah. So Mao, if you didn't know this, Mao was set up by the West, or it's not the West. It's the Mao was set up by the world government that you're about to like openly serve under pretty soon, by like 2 generations away from you probably, because you guys don't even know what's going on. You refuse to accept it. Refuse to even look at it. It's just like, well, if I accept that, then I can't fucking order Domino's pizza all the time. You understand that the United States isn't going to be around after the end of this war. Like you get that, right? Like you're gonna be like, well, I guess we need to go fight China because that's what you're not gonna have fucking. You're gonna have an intelligentsia purging where Department of Homeland Security is going to fucking start arresting and killing people in the United States for the fucking communists that are here. And then they're going to, you're going to lose the United States. And all your men, all your friends, like if you're 18 or in high school and shit, your friends are going to go overseas, and then their disposition of their locations and shit is going to be tactically leaked to the Chinese so they can come and fucking kill your friends just so that they're not at home with rifles, because they know that we all have fucking rifles here. And you guys keep on doing protests at fucking capitals, which is awesome and outstanding. I have no problem with that. I'm just saying, like, they know how many rifles they have, and they can't go up against us one-on-one. So they got to pull you out of the United States and kill you overseas fighting China so that you're weak in the United States, so your wives are widows and your fucking daughters are orphans. And then they'll come through and socialize their school even hardcore, more hardcore than where you're at now. And you will never recover the United States. That is what's going to happen. Does that make it clear enough? I want to try to make it clear, because I don't think people take it seriously. Like, people think that no, this is if you win the Chinese. You are not going to lose the Chinese war. You're going to fucking win. The United States is going to win the war and break into China. And then there's going to be entrances of other racial groups into China, because China is racially homogenous. And did you just get in and watch the beginning of the stream? Armed protests are fine. Everybody in the United States should walk around with a rifle whenever the fuck they want. It's fine. I'm just saying that they don't understand what's going on. Like, they'd be doing more effective things than that are even more extreme if they actually understood what's going on. Like they don't care. You guys don't understand. What I'm talking about right now has thousands of people that know that this is going to happen right now. And they know that you don't know about it. And they're laughing at you. And when you go do your protest in a capital, they don't care, because they are laughing about it, because you have no idea what's going on. You can't even know what's going on. They can just make a situation, you kill each other. Like, you will kill each other. You will think that somebody else, like all the communists that are here, that are the socialists in the big states and shit, in the East Coast and West Coast, yes, they're wrong. It's not like they're not wrong, but they're your blood and they're Americans. And the only reason that they're poisonous is because you guys, like, we as a country just let people come in and take it over and turn us into socialists. You know? Didn't follow the Constitution. If everybody just followed the fucking Constitution, you'd be fine. If you enforce the Constitution, you'd be fine. If nobody enforces it, the police don't even enforce it. I'm sorry if that's too extreme. I wanted you to understand the consequence and the seriousness of this. I don't understand how. I don't understand, like, when I watch the news, like I'm watching the news attempting to follow the public propaganda releases of broadcasts about the situation of Taiwan and China. When you watch it, I feel like it's just a bunch of people reading a script. It doesn't even seem authentic in any way or form. Like, I can taste their dishonesty spilling out of the fucking phone when I'm watching video. Like, it's 100% set up. I don't know how anybody's this dumb that they can't see this. Like, this entire thing is a production. Okay, Trump and his opposition by the media is fake. It's a production. Trump is on the same team as the fucking media. The crazy Marxists and shit are retards. They don't know what's going on. Like, the liberals that are like the Democrats, CNN, they have no idea what's going on. The Republicans, they don't know what's going on. Trump and the media and their disposition is fake. Like, their antagonism towards one another, that's a production. It's not real. The CNN, and look up U.S. Agency for Global Media. That's the U.S. propaganda arm of media, and they meet with motherfucking all the fucking channels that you watch. With Mike Pompeo. Look, this is what it is. If you guys wouldn't have let the country, I say you guys, I can't say I'm excluding myself. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm just trying to hammer home a point. If we as Americans would not have allowed the situation to get where it is by being distracted by consumerism and the allure of like, oh, we can just afford something. Wow, look at all this new stuff for decades and decades. Like, it's not just the game from the 2000s to now. It's been the game since World War II. Okay, every generation's been like that. White picket fence, green yard, you know, it's all the same shit. Now, if we hadn't been distracted like that, then we could have stopped all this. The people that rule this world cannot defeat. It's not a good idea for them to. Now they will, if, like, let's say this: if you can somehow convince the organic trigger pullers that are going to be the people that get sent to China during a draft, if you can disseminate the reality of the situation so that they should be suspicious, like they shouldn't just. I don't know why the fuck you would accept just offhand whatever the media says after all the bullshit that you've seen in the past since 9/11. But if you're really that stupid, then if you could try to convince them, like, hey, maybe just don't trust the media a little bit on the, you know, existential war that you're going to fight with China. Like, if you could get that far, and if we could pull it back, and if people were like, well, I'm not going to go during the draft to China, because not because you're a draft dodger, because they're going to launch another fucking war in the United States while you're there. It's going to be like a Cold War in the United States. And they're going to take it over because you're not going to be here to defend it. You're not going to have any ass behind the Constitution, because all the people that care about the Constitution are going to be too blood blinded by like their lust for wanting to fight the Chinese. So they're just going to go overseas to fight Chinese and take all their aggression they had for the liberals and put it towards the Chinese and go overseas to fight the Chinese. And then they're going to be sabotaged and killed. And then back home, they're going to run a fucking train on us. And then, so if you got to the point where you could get all the trigger pullers that are going to go overseas, and if you could pull them back in the States, and they somehow could come around this whole divisiveness that has been created among all American people, and they could somehow come to the conclusion, they're like, wow, maybe it's a good idea if we like defend our families at home. You know, maybe that would be a good idea. If you could actually get to that point, they're then going to launch. They're going to figure out a way to launch a bunch of countries, like a coalition at the United States at some point. I'm not saying that's coming up right away because that wouldn't make any sense. I'm saying that it's going to get spun into that. They're going to do like crashes and whatever to destabilize the United States until all that happens. Like, you will not get out of it just because of China. If you get out of the train wreck that is China, you will find yourself later like. Why do you think the media has? Do you remember when we went to Afghanistan and Iraq? How much the media loved that we were going there? They were like, "Wow, this is just so patriotic. You guys are noble and fucking great." And then, just like cops, when they're like, "Yep, we need our laws enforced exactly like this." By the way, we're introducing some new socialist laws, and we want you to enforce them real good in the big cities. Then, when they start doing the fucking shit they ask them to do, and they don't give them any choice anyway, then all the people turn on the cops. When the Iraq veterans get back, then you're fucking child murder. When the fucking Afghan vets get back, then you're fucking child murder. You see what I'm saying? It's the media. It's the same thing. It's happened forever. This is exactly what they did to Germany. This is exactly what they did to fucking Vietnam. All the same shit. It's the same fucking tactic, same MO. Why don't you remember that and then think about that before you go fight China? Because I guarantee that when you get back, you're not even going to get back from China. You're going to die out there because this one's like a dump cycle. Like, you're just getting dumped. This is like your turn to be Russia in World War II or World War One. Like World War One, Russia. Okay, if you don't know the history of Russia, in World War One, the Russians were fighting the Germans because they were allied with the original nation that Germany was against because of the assassination of the guy that was from their country. So then Russia got into World War One. Then they fucking got their shit pushed in by Germany, and they lost millions of people. And then they had to go back because while they were losing millions of dudes, they were losing so many guys. It was just like walls of dead bodies in the snow, freezing, nowhere to bury them, getting buried in foreign lands. And then while that was happening, the fucking people in Paris and London and New York City sent millions of dollars, and the people who got exiled from Russia from the first failed communist resolution, they sent them all there while all the boys were gone getting their fucking asses handed to them. And they did a fucking communist revolution. That's where we got communism. So it's like, you got to understand this is your turn now. It's just like Hillary Clinton, my turn. This is your turn to eat shit. So go be an idiot if you want to be, but you're not going to come back to a country. It's going to be gone no matter what. Yeah, Christians shouldn't even be on the executive branch. I mean, what are you people insane? Like, why don't you have pitchforks? Are you idiots? Yeah, so Jay says about 80% of the men born in 1922 and 1920 died in World War II. Her turn. First I saw Hillary and I thought it was her turn. Now I think it's my turn to let communism take over my country more. Because we already let it happen. And the conservatives are fake as shit. Because they fucking stood there and let it happen. And they want to talk about how they're the guardians of freedom. They're just, it's ridiculous. I don't even want to get into it. It's so ridiculous. It's absurd. I know that God wants a real version of history and wants to make sure that he puts that in there. I don't know. How old am I? I'm 35. Yeah, I think you can do it at 35. I'll run for fucking president if you give me the money. I don't have any money. I'm poor. I made myself poor. I work for minimum wage now. Yeah, if you can crowdfund me into the president, I'll run for it as a meme. And I'll say, if you can crowdfund me into the president, I will straight up get assassinated for the United States just to say shit publicly. Like, if you can meme a crowdfunded campaign to get enough organic support where somebody's like, oh, get Dugan up there, I will fucking go up there, and if they kill me, I'm cool with it. Like, whatever. Because as long as if I can get up there and say what I want to say, then America will not forget it. And then it'll be done. I'll never be able to, like, everybody will figure it out. And if they kill me for it, that's fine. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? I'll JFK that shit. Can you imagine? Now, here's the funny thing, right? Here's the funny thing. You got to think, I don't think people should use drugs because you are drugs inside your mind. All the drugs do is just peel off layers of what's already there. So imagine this, right? The war with China, now use some logic deduction, okay? So imagine how the media is now, right? And imagine how the media was to get the United States like amped up enough to where they didn't realize it was a bad idea to go into Iraq or Afghanistan. They're gonna have to do that again for China. And they've already been, think about how critical they've been for the past like 4 years about Iraq and Afghanistan. Like the media doesn't even talk about Afghanistan or Iraq without like a whiny tone. They're like, and this week in Afghanistan, you still have troops there. It's like, yeah, because you fucking put us there, you retard. Like, of course you're still there. You won't let us fucking leave. You know? So they're gonna have to do all the shit they did to pump up those wars again for China. So like, think about this. You're going to see, when this Chinese war starts, you're going to see CNN and Fox News disagree on everything except how you're a hero if you go fight in China. That's what you're going to see. Yeah, Iran's going to happen at the same time as whatever the war. Like if you have the World War III, Iran's just going to get thrown in there. It's going to be sad. They can't get Iran very much because nobody wants to. Iran's too close to Iraq in the limited understanding of Americans. Like they know how bad Iraq was, and they think Iran's gonna be worse for American losses, which were nothing relative to like, World War III, you know. And Americans think that Iran is like another Iraq, but worse, a little bit worse. It'd be way worse, but they're not. It's not enough to do it. So America, they'll never get American support for it. I think at China, it's like a fresh war that Americans have no fucking clue of the history of China. Like you might as well be like, we're gonna go attack the Mars people. Like no, they don't have a fucking clue. And so they can pull off China, and then all that shit, it's gonna turn into a world war with everybody. And then while they're there, they're just gonna hit Iran. Because at that point, we'll be like carpet bombing cities and countries and shit. I don't give a fuck. They'll kill everybody in Iran. They'll wipe it out. If I was Iranian watching this right now, you should know that you were like Germany right before they decided to go on Operation Barbarossa. That is you right now, Iran. If you're any Iranians watching this, you are Germany pre-World War II, and the Red Army is enclosing on you from the east, and you're going to be done. Act accordingly. Just being honest. I'm just throwing it out there. I think the world could use a lot more love from everybody. Sweet, Mark. Iran always seemed all right. I've never seen anything negative about Iran other than like, execution seems. I mean, people do execution again. I don't think people should kill people in general as a philosophy, if you can avoid it. Sometimes it's hard. What else do you guys think? Could you guys excuse me for a minute? I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick and grab a beer. Is that okay? I don't want to abuse your viewership. If you're watching this and having a good time, I don't want to go do it if it's going to annoy you. But I would like to go to the bathroom, please. Okay, thank you. Yeah, make sure. Would you guys excuse me? I'm going to go. I'm totally blacked up. I need to go. I'm going to go to the store and get some Pepto. I'm going to go sit on the. I don't have a toilet. I'm going to shit in my tub. Okay. Okay, thank you guys. Sorry about that. What would you guys? Let's try to reel it in here. I'm getting kind of like wild over here, and I have a feeling, some of these people are going to stumble on this video that have no idea what it is, and they're just going to watch it. And they're just going to be like, "Oh my god, I'm never going back." Like it's just going to melt their brains. So let's try to How do we stop the war with China? That's a good question. You want to talk about that? Gematria. I've tried to understand Gematria. I don't get it. I don't doubt that there's something that's understandable about that system, but I don't understand. Do you understand Gematria? Yeah, fucking crowdfund me. I'll run for president. I will take the most ridiculous. Hey, wait. Have you guys seen my? Let me show you my SHOT Show cards that I made for. I did a SHOT Show video, but I never put it on Carnicon because the big company Magpul canceled their fucking interview, which is like the entire episode was based off of because it was just gonna troll Magpul really hard with like a interview, and they canceled it. It's like ruined my video, so I never put it up. But I'll see if I can find a card real quick. Okay, so this is the card that I was walking around SHOT Show handing out. It's like the most. I had like 1,000. It's just like walking around like, here you go. Like, no, it's like looking at. They're like, oh, and they're like, this looks pretty. I think this guy knows what he's doing. It's like, the hand is like fucking twisted sideways and shit. They're like, I meant it like to be like way over the line, like just the copy. It's like a Steve Bob's thing, right? But just like way further than that, just like something that's just so beyond egotistical that it's absurd. It's like giving it to people, and if they didn't know, like I would give it to people that wouldn't know Carnicon. Most people would laugh when they saw it, but you would get like some people would get it and they would like look at it and be like, I'm interested in what you have to say. I'd like to talk to you. What's the general vibe of SHOT Show? I mean, if you've never been there, it's worth it going once. You're going to walk a lot. I recommend for the SHOT Show experience, I recommend going with a couple guys and renting a house outside of Vegas Strip proper. Like renting a house that you can all stay in one house, and then like renting a car and carpooling. That's how I recommend doing it, because you're going to be walking. Like if you're down in Vegas, if you've never been to Vegas, it fucking sucks. I'm sorry if you're from Vegas, but I'm not sorry. Vegas is what you call a paper city. So what you're going to see is like the first year that you're in Vegas, you're going to be like, wow, there's so many Chinese neon lights everywhere. And then the second year, you're going to be like, there's a lot more hookers here than I thought. And they're a lot more, kind of sad. And that makes me sad as a person. And then like the fourth year, then you're going to be like, okay, I now know all the shortcuts to like running around in Vegas and shit to avoid the crowds. And when I take them, I see behind the veneer, literally, of the buildings, and you realize the entire city is like a paper city. That's what they mean, a paper city. Gomorrah, huh? We getting heavy in here. Am I going to take a COVID-19 vaccine? I think I have already established this in some prior videos. I'm sorry. I don't know much. I mean, I do read. I've read Jesus, but I don't know a whole ton of it. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that kind of stuff. It's not effective. Well, there's no dumb questions. It's fine. Yeah, say anything you want, sir. It's fine. I still make. I've got like 20 tracks right now that I'm working on. I'm so poor. that I don't have any time to do this shit, you know? Because I'm also like homesteading. Gun tubers, I my theory. So gun tubers, so like YouTube rapes all the people that are actually making content for a living on. That's why they have so much Patreon and stuff, and it's always been like that. Uh, YouTube sucks, by the way. It shouldn't exist. What YouTube provides for the public should be recreated by somebody that's not going to use it as a monopolized fucking censorship tool. Should just be entire, just copy the entire fucking thing and just make it anew where they don't have it, they don't have their fucking hands on the server, and then tell them to get fucked. And then when they try to bring you into court, just figure out who they are, and then boating accident, you know, the because this is how like YouTube's a platform where they're like, I mean, it's like the fucking base pad where they're launching censorship from. A little bit of Roman history, but you know, I probably should have uploaded it to my platform, which is only a matter of time before they kick my ass off here. Oh, sweet. Yeah. Well, and that's why like I got like the reason that I quit doing Carnicon was because I saw all the media was getting coordinated, like or I'm sorry, not coordinated, consolidated between all the different social media platforms. And I was kind of dumb because I should have seen that I should have seen that in the very beginning, but I didn't see it. They had to buy up everything first. Once they bought off all the original inventors of all the social media tools and just bought them all, then they consolidate them under, it's the same people, it's just with subsidiaries. There's even like some of the board members between these are the same board members between, several different things, including like eBay and PayPal and Amazon and shit. So like as soon as I started seeing that, and then I should have fucking known when YouTube first fucked with me when I was first on here in like 2012, they were fucking with me on an individual level. And I should have seen it right then and there, but I'm too dumb. So then the the only thing that's going to happen is what you guys allow to happen. Right now, the entire United States and the world is lockstep, even though every single person has a YouTube video where they're like, there's some kind of conspiracy going on, but like I don't want to say that, because I don't want to, rock the boat or anything. But I'm a little bit uncomfortable, and that everybody's at like that point. You don't need to be there. Like people are going to die. This is not. Quit fucking kidding yourself. This is like, imagine if you could stop 9/11 and how fucking dumb you'd feel if you had pretty good information and you just didn't even care, didn't even do anything, and you just watched 9/11 happen. Like you're a fucking asshole, right? That's where everybody that's watching this right now, you should be there because I've explained it perfectly. It's perfectly logical. You can give me criticism of my points. I've already told you, you should have senators right now go. If I talk to a senator, they're not even going to take me seriously because I'm not even like, they're going to look at me like I'm not even a human being. If you talk to a senator, if you guys call up a bunch of senators, hey, why is the CDC running a 3-tier serology surveillance program on the United States post-infection that's not even there to detect COVID-19? They're just like doing a benchmark map on the population and say like you're concerned about fucking biological warfare. If you fucking go and talk to them and enough of you do it, they have to listen to you at least on the surface level. Like they can only do what their handlers are going to let them do. But if you make it such a big deal that they can't ignore it and they start having to like put out stories about how it's a conspiracy theory, then at least it spreads and then maybe you can stop it. And then if you talk about how it's related to China, then you can stop it. Okay, you just fucking got in here. Go back and watch the beginning of the fucking chat. I don't appreciate somebody coming in here and saying name them. I'm using diplomacy and tact here, and I've already fucking done it 1,000 times. Go undercover in the CIA? Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm not mad, guys. I don't get mad. I'm just being direct because it's like somebody comes in here and they're just like, Doug, you're you kind of like, you know, my account doesn't have my name on it, but you know, I think you should be a little bit more direct. It's like what? Like, we were hours streaming. We were 2 hours and 52 minutes streaming and went into in-depth history about the relationship between Germans and Jews. Well, you can use whatever name you want. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like I'm shaming people. I'm not shaming people. I'm sorry. I just get frustrated, because it's like it's not the guy. It's not the guy. Like the guy that says name him. I'm not frustrated at him because like it's fine. I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to break your heart. I'm sorry. I went too far. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that you. What I'm frustrated with is like the American population. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean it like a denigrating remark. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. If I come off like that, I'm a little bit rough on the edges. So sometimes I come off like that. Like in the ConnerCon videos, it's all like, if I say something stupid, I can edit it out. This is like a live stream, so everything's coming from my heart, and so like I'm just kind of like I'm kind of like the way that I speak when I'm being honest, it ends up seeming like it's insulting. It's not. I'm so used to I learned how to talk as an individual for myself and not what I thought other people thought, like from the army, by people abusing me. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm used to, like, when somebody challenges me, it automatically makes me like I don't even hesitate. I'm just like, okay, let's go. And I go a little too far sometimes. Yeah, I probably am. I probably am autistic. I do have MS. I've got MS. So if you ever watch the video, like the videos, when I start to have like speech pauses, I'm getting better now. So I had a lesion on my pons in my brain, like a lesion. So it was like my mouth, it was like my throat and my speech. So I started to get like periods where it's like I couldn't draw words. Like I can think all the words and all the ideas, and my abstraction is actually really high. So I have to do cognitive testing. I do cognitive testing through the VA. My abstraction is like absurdly high. Like it's higher than like pretty much everybody that they've ever tested. But my like speech and recall is like near retarded level, if believe it or not. So it's from the pond. I got a lesion in my brain and my pons, and then it like made me like I couldn't swallow. Like when I eat food, I can't eat food without liquid. I'm not 100% with the VA because they don't like giving 100%. I like welding too. I love welding. I got a cheap Chinese welder, and I got a plasma cutter too. Yeah, so I think I got MS. I got MS because there was a chemical. I was in a chemical explosion in our in the Al Anbar University when we were militarizing it, and we took all the chemicals and we blew a hole in the wall, and then we took a dozer. We had like the CVs with us. We took a dozer and we were just taking chemicals and throwing it in there. And there's like this big ass explode, or not a big ass. It was a small explosion. It was like a chemical fire, and some guy was like stomping on powder, and it popped his foot, and he was like, I was scared he was hurt, so I went in the room like trying to get him, and then I breathed in like this huge fucking like cloud of like chemical dust, and I was coughing, but I was on mission for like 2 weeks, so it like I could like when it happened, I could like feel my like blood vessels like coming through my skin and shit, like getting like pulsating and shit. And I was like, this is not good. Uh-oh. And then I got MS. I started going blind in 2010. And that was the first thing. I started going blind, but I didn't know it was MS. I thought I was standing up too fast. And then it took until like 2015. I started having like paralysis and shit. And then that's when I figured out I had MS. So it's pretty unusual for like a male. So I would have got out. I don't even know how, like in my 20s. Like it's very unusual for a male to get MS in their 20s. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it's combat related, but don't know precisely what. treatment sucks. I actually haven't been treating since the COVID because I take interferon beta 1 alpha. So it's like a intermuscular injection. So it's like a needle like that big, and then I fucking shove it in my thigh. And I'm used to it. I do it once a week, but it makes you sick like a flu symptom for like 36 hours. So I've been doing that since like 2015, and I quit doing it. I quit doing it during COVID because it actually drops your immune system. So like you're more vulnerable to get sick. It because like I haven't been sick for about a decade, like not even a cold, because of MS, because it's like it artificially boosts your immune system. So they give you the interferon, and then it like kills your immune system. So then because your immune system eats your central nervous system. That's what MS is. So it's like it's eating the myelin sheathing on the connections between my brain and in my central nervous system, like slowly over time. I haven't done fasting because I kind of do fasting now because I'm just like drinking and dipping a lot. Yeah. Don't feel sorry for me. It's fine. I'm not saying that shit to be sorry. I'm saying it so that people quit asking me about it. People ask me about it so much. So there, you have the answer. Yeah. It's not good. You have to be fucking careful with these doctors. They tried to switch me. So like, I kept on getting, I still get lesions even with the interferon. I feel fucking great without treatment, but it's going to catch up at some point. But the doctors, so like through the VA, they sent me like some doctor. It's like a Indian immigrant, so like he barely spoke English, so I couldn't even understand what he's saying. He wanted to switch me from interferon to like a pill. Didn't tell me any side effects. Thank the Lord, I'm like my wife is smart enough to look up look in depth to new medications and shit. Turns out it causes like birth defects through the semen for kids that you have. Didn't even tell me that. So like I was like, okay, well, I'm not taking that medication. All right. Well, we're getting kind of long here. One last topic, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't know what methotrexate is. Sorry. You want to talk about Mental Kesson? I don't want to talk about Mental Kesson. He tried to charge me money to talk to him. Let's see. Did I talk about my hat? I mean, what do you want to talk about, Jade? It's a hat. It keeps the sun. It like blocks sun. All chicken feed is good for fermenting. So if you didn't know this, for chicken feed, so when you're feeding, like whatever you feed your chicken, the main thing that they need is protein, right? So when you take food, like if you buy dry food, for instance, like most people feed their chickens dry food. If you feed them the dry food, they're going to eat it and process it, but they're going to be limited by their metabolism and the way that their stomach is, works breaking down the food. If you just like put water in it, and then you can even just let like wild yeast out of there. I know it's crazy, but there's yeast in the air everywhere. If you just put water in the food in like a 5-gallon bucket and put a towel over it so you're not getting like particulate in it, and then just allow it to sit, you'll catch wild yeast, and then just like smell it. Should start smelling fermented. If it smells fermented, a familiar fermented smell, then you're good. If it starts smelling like fucked up and you're like, wow, then that's bad. You get the good yeast in there. Chances are you're going to get the good yeast anyway. I've never done a bad one. And then it'll break. You just keep the food like moist, like just moist is fine. And there's going to be a liquid left over in the bottom. Every time that you feed out of that, you replace it and put water in it. And you leave that liquid in the bottom, and it'll re-ferment whatever you do with the same yeast will colonize it. And when you feed your chickens that now, they're gonna be able to break down the nutrients better, and they'll get direct access to the proteins, and you'll end up it'll drop your chicken feed, so you'll actually end up feeding them less. I've seen Pogo and Zypher. I'm about 100% sure that that's a psyop. Although I think it's close and parallel. The thing is, let me talk about Pogo and Cypher. Where's the Pogo and Cypher guy? Pogo Cypher? Pogo Cypher, you there? Did you just leave? You just came in here and say Pogo and Cypher and then just left? Yeah, okay. Pogo and Cypher. Yeah. So first of all, what you should know is that Adam Green, he's from Virginia and he's related to somebody that has the last name of Schumacher. And Pogo and Cypher is like he put that up on the channel and shit from this other guy, the Goldstein or whatever. And what Pogo and Cypher is about is to make you think that the intelligentsia purge is like planned with without like conventional military interaction with the population directly. That's what it's for. Like you are going to get an intelligentsia purge, but it's going to be something where like they're going to do it in a way where everybody goes along with it. So like they're going to start with a war with China, and then they're going to say that everybody that everybody that's like, we don't want to go to war with China, and we're scared of like a communist fucking takeover of the United States. They're going to say that all those people are Chinese sympathizers, and then they're going to get like DHS to kill us all. That's like the real plan. Then they're going to send in, if that doesn't work, they're going to send in from South America. They're probably going to send up all the South American paramilitary units from the South. That's probably like a last resort. That's why Israel has so much contact with Brazil right now, and why the tension is built up with Middle America and South America. And if you're not aware, South Americans don't give a fuck about America. They think we're like totally arrogant, and they would love to take a piece of this country. Like that's like the underhand. The uppercut is China, and the underhand is South America. Yeah. So they'll send up, they're not going to send up South America, any South American country, unless there's a good chance of it working. So if you go to China, then there's a good chance of it working. Like if you're weak in the United States, then you're pretty much like open. So it's like anybody that doesn't like the United States, and the media has been denigrating the United States for like years now, like for the last 5 years, the media's been like, there's just something really wrong in America. Everybody's racist. And, of course it's not true, but that's like the way they paint it. So like the rest of the world hates us. We're the imperialists. That's all a setup. They're gonna use conventional military conflicts as the smokescreen to purge the United States of its strength and all of its military-aged males. And by keeping you guys programmed to keep on thinking there's an external threat of like, we have to go fight Iran and go fight China, like you're gonna fucking cash your ticket. You're gonna fucking cash your ticket and you're gonna take the ride. So if that's what you want to do, then give away your country, and like they're probably gonna kill your fucking children. Probably gonna wipe out your children and give it to somebody that's not even from here. Just like they did to the Indians. The people in South America are mixed with Spaniards anyway. They're no more. I mean, I guess they have some Aztec blood in them because they mix, but they had like the racial mixing program. They're not like natives or anything. Yeah, they are going to sterilize your children. That's what the end game of the DNA shit is. But that's more like the sterilization is like a later thing, right? So sterilization comes into play when you already have the takeover, and then people are thinking about resisting in the future. Like once you get established totalitarian world government, theocratic totalitarian world government, and people are like, wow, I don't think we can beat this because it's so tight. Then it's like the more abusive that they get, the greater probability of people resisting. Once they have genetic weapons, then they can go, because if your life sucks, if you're oppressed, And it's like, what do you have to lose if you go die fighting? Nothing, right? Because your life sucks. So it's like, well, maybe I'll die, but maybe there's a hope for the future, right? When you do DNA sterilization, then it's like they can use it as a threat, and they can say, okay, you want to come fuck with us? We're going to take whoever you are, whatever ethnic group. We've got you cataloged down to the fucking, you know, sparsed out into all of your different phenotypic groups, and we're just going to fucking release a sterilization virus to that entire group. So now you got to think, okay, is it worth it me fighting and I can never have my blood procreate again, and like my children will never have children, and like we're just going to die off in a generation and we'll never be able to inherit the earth? That's what sterilization is for. Does that make sense? Do you understand? And make no fucking mistake, when you go have a kid in a hospital and they take the PKU sample, they are sending it to DNA banks that are run by NGOs that have certain last names, and you can go look it up. You can go to your state's website and you look up your newborn screening. They have to list it. They're legally obliged at this time to list it. You find the board for your home state. You look at the board at who runs it, and then you look at your legal policy, which is listed on the fucking website for the program, and it will tell you how long they can keep it in storage after they run your PKU test and what they can do with it. 80% of the states have no limitation, and they sell them. Not only do they sell them, but there's historical precedence because there's multiple lawsuits in every state. There's a lawsuit in Texas where somebody found out that they sold their DNA, and then they looked into it and they found out there was 1 million DNA samples from PKU tests at the hospital in Texas. The same thing happened in like Minnesota and several other states, and they just pay it off with money, and the people are fine, and they don't talk about it anymore because they just pay them a huge pack of money and they shut up. So nobody knows about this, but it's obvious, and all you have to do is look into it. It's not a crazy conspiracy theory. This is what's fucking happening. You have a DNA database that's already fucking built, and we're all retarded. You need to stop having your fucking kids in hospitals and stop giving your fucking DNA. Yeah. They want to, if you have a kid in the hospital, and they will take your kid quickly and go run the MBS test to pull blood sample. They won't even ask for your consent. They'll have you just sign a piece of paper and just shove it in your face and be like, here, sign up. And they'll pull your kid and pull them away so you don't see it, so that you don't even see it, the heel prick nowadays. They used to do it while the parents were around. Nowadays, a lot of hospitals will take them to another room and stuff because they have problems with it. Yeah, I had MBS when I was born. I was born in a hospital just like anybody else. No, it's not illegal. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They can't even get, they barely get sued. There's multiple cases. If you go to even Wikipedia, go to Wikipedia and look up newborn screening tests, go down to the bottom. There'll be a section that's like controversies, and then it'll be like a bunch of bullshit reasons that the smart people wrote in there to try to cover up, so that they're hoping that you lose steam and have like a third grade reading level and you'll read 2 sentences and stop. And it'll be like, people are concerned about, they want more PKU testing, and people are concerned about, like, they want more treatment, for like the dietary condition for PKU. And then it's at the bottom, it's like, people are concerned about secret governmental programs of collecting DNA and sending it to DNA banks. Like, maybe you should put that first. Maybe that's more of a concern than these other things. You know what I mean? Go there and look at it. Go to your state website and look it up. That way, when somebody comes here and they say like Dugan's crazy, you can be like, look, it's right there. I mean, I'm trying to fucking wake people up. We need senators in on this. We need senators to wake the fuck up and serve the country. We have no representation. My fucking right. But you know what I care about? I care about the Constitution. Is there anybody in government that's serving the Constitution? No. That should be a problem. It's not. And that should tell you something about the state of the union. It's all surpassable. All it is following truth. If you follow truth and if you project truth, people will fucking recognize it and they will listen. And that's any language, you know, as long as they can understand the language, I guess. But any fucking sinner that'll listen, blow their fucking pants off. Light them up. I've already tried. They don't give a fuck. They're all bought. They are all compromised. But if you can, if anybody's high speed, then you can, if you know a bunch of people, like I don't know anybody. I don't even have any like friends that I interact with in real life. If you have a bunch of people that you like, if you're in a social group with like a bunch of people in real life, you just go down to the fucking center office and just cause a fucking scene about it. I mean, fuck, if you get a news coverage story to run it, at least they have to be like, you know, they can't just say like some guy came in there for no reason and made a big scene. Like you could just, you know, they're not going to say that. They're going to say like, this guy was crazy talking about DNA fucking sampling databases that are secret. Yeah, they're not going to give you any empathy. They're going to keep on drawing in the wagons and closing the corral until they can fucking drop the hammer on you. And then when they calculate, the only thing that's limited from this stuff hitting hard is that they've got to get around the military age males in the United States with the rifles, because that's a dynamic situation. We can fuck shit up quick, but they've got to get around that. So they're not going to, you know, they've got to create the conditions. They've got to move enough things around one between another, enough contrast, social contrast, cause enough chaos to keep everybody divided and everybody thinking like somebody else will do it. Somebody else will handle it. I don't have to do anything. And the trick is you don't want to use violence, right? Like violence is like you start doing violence right now, it's easy. Every single fucking sheriff's department and police department is gonna go, yeah, things are fucked up, but we can't have people dying, so I'm gonna kill this guy, you know, and they're just gonna kill you. So don't use violence. We need to spread awareness about what's going on so that people understand that the Constitution is under threat and the United States is under threat, and that they understand the nature of the insanity of it and how bad of chances that we have. Like we don't have good odds. It's going to take guts. Yeah, you're in the end stage of the republic. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, you can do both. What I'm saying is if your plan for addressing this is taking a rifle and like going and pointing at somebody or finding like you know, like finding somebody that's like you perceive as a threat in like an agency or something or NGOs or whatever, and you just go like shooting them, like you're going down. Like not, you know, nobody's gonna be empathetic to that because they don't even understand what's going on. So it's like you have to get the public awareness to the point, and it's the wrong way to do it anyway, right? Like it's immoral. You shouldn't be going and killing people. Like they probably wouldn't even choose to do that if they understood. Most people, not everybody, but I mean there are some bad people out there, but most people don't want to be destroying their country if they understand what's going on. It's just it's so complex and fucking hidden and spread out in plain sight that it's like and there's so much propaganda and they can't defeat the normalcy bias, like the peer pressure of being like, well, I don't want anybody to think I'm weird, you know? So like, well, I'd like to save my country, but like that could be a little uncomfortable. So instead, I'm going to wait until we have a civil war and watch everybody around me die, because that's what's going to happen. You know, you're going to watch. They're gonna send you out to die with China, and then you're going to get weak, and they're going to launch. They're going to launch a fucking intelligentsia cleansing in the United States through some kind of process, and then at that point, once people start dying and going missing clandestinely and in raids and shit, like raids that the news doesn't talk about, and you start hearing about that, then people will be like, wait, we got to get our M4s, and they're going to get out their M4s. Then you're going to be so small in number, it's not even going to matter. Like they're just going to take you out. They're just going to pay all the people that they pay to shoot you. It's the same. This happened in every country, guys. Yeah. You want proof? Go to your website for your state for MBS. Look at the board that governs your genetic testing rules and makes recommendations to hospitals in your state. Look at the board. Look at their last names. You should find something in common. Go to the CDC. Look at their names. You should find something in common. Go to the DNA banks. They list the DNA banks. Go to Wikipedia MBS screening web that page. Go down there where it talks about the the APA, American Pediatrics Association, they're the ones that make recommendations on it. Same with the ACMG, whatever, American whatever Genetics Council of America or something. I don't know. You'll see it on newborn screening tests. Go on there, go to their website, look at their boards, look at all their committees. You'll see it all. Then go to CDC site and look at what they're doing right now. It's called serology surveillance tests. Okay. Serology test surveillance. They've got 3 tiers that they're rolling out this week after the spike has gone down for COVID-19. They are testing. It doesn't test whether someone is infected with COVID-19. It tests what they say, what their claim, what their cover story is that it's testing your antibodies reaction to the virus so that they can track it and try to find somebody that has immunity. They're not doing that. They're tracking how effective the fucking virus spread was because they fucking released it. They pulled international CDC employees out of China from Wuhan province up to as close as 2 months right before the virus release. If you're loud enough, and if you disseminate this information enough, and if you look into it so that you're confident enough to speak on it and know what you're saying, it's not that hard. Just spend some time looking at it, figure out exactly what the fuck you're saying. You're not going to be able to explain the situation of Jews in America to normal people. It's not going to happen. But you have to. It's just they're not going to understand. That's the whole, like, don't you guys get it? Like, Florida just passed laws where it's like you can't say anything about Jews or else you lose your job if you're employed by the government. You know who wrote those laws? Jews. Okay, there's Jewish lawyers that wrote those laws. Do you think that Jewish lawyers know the history of pogroms in Europe? The way that pogroms happen in Europe is because the court Jews were protected by the monarchy, and the citizens resented that because the court Jews got special treatment and protection, and so they resented it. So it never works because they got special law. Okay, and so anybody that's writing law about protecting Jew in the United States is aware of this history. They're lying if they say they don't. They fucking know it. They're lawyers. They know Jewish history and the history of pogroms. Yet they're writing the laws for the exact condition that caused pogroms in Europe for a fucking 1,000 years. They know exactly what the totalitarian Jews are going to try to cause a fucking pogrom in the United States. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's like a side plan, right? That's like a side plan. They already know. They already plan on Americans. They figure there's like a pretty good % chance that Americans are going to figure out what's going on and go after the Jews and blame them. I mean, completely like every Jew, like it's just going to be like pitchfork time. They're already planning on that, and so they're putting the pieces in place to do that. And they're going to send them all to Israel, and they're going to say that it's the fucking Aliyah. It's not the Aliyah. It's deceit. If you get proper Aliyah and shit, and Mashiach comes, then you're going to know it because it's going to be fucking all truth. If you're doing it by lying to everybody, then obviously it's not God, right? Yeah, Marxists are going to be in trouble first. Yeah, that's true. I'm not even going to answer the question. Religious Jews or ethnic Jews, I'm not even going to get into it. It's pointless. I'm not going to try to explain it to you. Read like 1,000 books and then you'll figure it out. Shahak, now I want to say this about Shahak. I didn't post a Shahak interview because I'm like condoning what he's saying and saying this is accurate. I disagree with some things that Shahak says. I don't think that they're true. The point of the interview was that he was No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean, if I came off too hard about that, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to drive home the point. That's all. I didn't mean to directly against you personally. So here's, let me try to tackle this. This is almost impossible to tackle. It's irresponsible for me to even do so. I'll try to do it. I shouldn't be doing it. So essentially, like, you have a bunch of Jews that have the same, like, everybody's a Jew. If God, if you believe in God, like, regardless of your religion, and you want to do what God wants, right? Like, if you believe that there's a God, regardless of what God you believe in your religion, and then you think that you got a pretty good idea of what they want, and you see it happening in real life, then you want to do what God wants, right? Like, you don't want to go against God. Isn't that right? I mean, that's just logical, right? So that's the baseline position of Jews. Then you have like rabbinicism, which is Pharisees, right? And they're like they're like multiple sects in that, but then they have different opinions. Some of them are Zionists, some of them are not Zionists. It's a fucking spaghetti bowl, okay? It's fucking, they can't even understand it. Like, they can barely wrap their heads around it. You're not gonna be able to figure it out. It's fucking complex, okay? The people that set up Israel are technically in violation of the current exile, like biblical exile. They're currently in violation of it. Where we're at now with the situation with Jews in the world is also coinciding with prophecy, including a prophecy that prophecies that the Jews will start returning to Israel, as they've done. So it's like you're already in line with prophecy. So every Jew is looking at what's going on and they're seeing prophecy fulfilled, even though they know that the Zionists aren't, they're not doing it the right way, right? You gotta understand this. So it's like this. If you're like, we're all Americans, right? Or, I mean, people are like nationals wherever you're at. Like, you're in a country, like I'm an American, other people are in other countries that are watching this. If you weren't from the place that you were and you were just visiting there, like you're in an exile or a diaspora, then it's like, and then you have a history of like the Jews getting attacked all the time, and it's like, you're not really going to ever have allegiance, right? Because that would be stupid. The books themselves tell them, there's religious law on like how they should view the Gentiles. Okay. So if they're pious and obey the law, they're going to do what that says. Okay. If you start seeing world events turning and taking a shift to fulfill prophecy and shit, or not, or if you think it's a scheme and people are just causing it by their own hands and it's not godly, then you're still probably just going to go along with it, right? Because if you don't, then it's like you're just going to get schwacked. You know what I'm saying? In the wash, I'm saying, like a World War III, they're like, all the Jews come back, and like, we just did World War III and China's fighting the United States. If you're like a Jew, it's like you're not going to hang out in the United States and just watch it all going while everybody else is going to Israel. You're going to go to Israel. You get what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, you want to talk about Noahides? You're talking about Noahides? Okay. Don't be prejudiced against people. Just fucking protect yourself. You got your own. Just fucking let people be responsible for their actions. Yeah, exactly. Shahak was talking about Goyim, and the interviewer was so uncomfortable by it that he was trying to censor him. And he was trying to explain the word Goyim and trying to explain what's going on. I know about who was that? Moose. I just told you, No More News is Adam Green, and he's from Virginia, and he's Schumacher, Deborah Schumacher. You shouldn't be like having a bunch of. Hopefully, you're not sending a bunch of emails to Adam Green and telling him your address and shit, and telling him that you're anti-Semitic. I'll just say that. Hope you have some rifles at your house. Yeah, I know. He is. Yeah, Adam Green has correct information that he's putting out. I don't think that like the big picture of what he's putting out is correct. So I was going to try to make some point before that, and I got sidetracked because I didn't want you to write love emails to Adam Green. Okay, Noahides. We're going to talk about Noahides. We're gonna wrap this up. Last thing. Noahides. So Noahidism is it's established in Mishneh Torah, which is written by Rambam or Maimonides. He's like 1100s, and it didn't start getting prominence until like the 1500s. He has a book in there called Law of Kings, where he talks about post-Messianic, which is the period where all the Jews go back to Israel proper, right? And they all repent, and the Mashiach comes, and they go back to Israel, and they're all in Israel, right? And then they get world government. Once that happens, then you're going to get the Sanhedrin court in Israel, and then you're going to get, it's going to be 70 rabbis. They're going to be running the overall law of the Torah, okay? For aliens, like that would be you in the United States, you're going to have a satellite government set up through your own people here. Like your government now is not going to change much in the way that it functions other than its law. You're going to go to Noahide law, which is a caste religion where you are a sub-religion to Jews, and you're going to follow them. And if you violate any of them, you're going to be beheaded. Because it is prescribed in the Torah, and this is not an exaggeration, there's tons of writing on it. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Look up Maimonides, Law of Kings, Noahide laws, there's 7 of them. Those laws include things like idolatry. If you are a Christian, if you are an evangelical Christian, sending all your money to Israel, you should be aware that you're not going to get an easy street when this culminates. You are going to be decapitated. Don't believe me if you don't want to. I don't really care. If you are Muslim, you're going to be okay because the Jews consider Islam to be, a unified God. Just under a different name. So they consider the same God, but a different name. It's not idolatry. So Muslims are fine. Christians are going to get decapitated. Okay? I just want to make sure you understand that. You're also going to get decapitated for things like theft. Maimonides, Maimonides. That's the Greek name. His Hebrew name is Rambam. Or his Yiddish name, or whatever it is, I don't know. Rambam. That's what the Jews call him, Rambam. I probably got like tons of Orthodox Jews watching right now, like, this motherfucker. I'm sorry. What do you guys want me to do? You want me to just? Am I supposed to just let the shit happen? I mean, I'm telling these guys not to hurt Jews. You shouldn't hurt anybody unless they try to come hurt you. You have the right to defend yourself. You got the right to exist. If somebody tried to take your, what do you want? The Rambam, Rambam, or the Greek name is Maimonides. Maimonides, Maimonides, 1100 AD for Christians, CE for Jews. The book is called Mishneh Torah. That's a big book. In Mishneh Torah, the place where they talk about it is called the Law of Kings. If you want to find a direct searchable term, type in Noahide laws, punishment for Noahide laws. It seems pretty extreme when you read it. You almost can't believe it. It's not a joke. It's reality. Go to C-SPAN and type in Noahide law in C-SPAN, and have a little watch of your Senate doing their opening prayer with rabbis talking about Noahide laws, Noahide, Noahide laws. They're the covenant. It's from the first covenant, the covenant with Noah, where God promises Noah not to flood the earth again and kill everybody. Signals it with a rainbow, 7 colors, 7 Noahide laws. The only problem with it is that, they associate 7 colors with it, but the only problem with that is that the 7 color system actually isn't the color spectrum. That is the color spectrum set up by Newton. Newton theorized 7 colors for his color theory, and that spread rapidly all over the world. But he was in error because there's not actually 7 colors, there's actually like infinite colors. It's just that our cones in our eyes are selected to see certain colors. There's also, everything has a color. So if we had different eyes, different cone structure, we would see infrared spectrum, for instance. We don't even see that. Like, there is no color. So if you're using like CCD cameras and shit that are sensitive to the infrared spectrum, they just show up as like the prior visible color. So like infrared shows up as like purple in like an infrared purple if you're using colored night vision. That's because that's the limited range of our eyes. There's not actually 7 colors in a rainbow. There's fucking infinite colors. So it's an illusion. When you look at a rainbow and you see a bunch of colors, the bands that you see are concentrations that reflect the way that your cones in your eyes are constructed. You could see radio waves theoretically. It's all the same thing. The electromagnetic spectrum is a continuous spectrum. That's why animals, different types of animals have different cone structure and eye structure that responds and is sensitive to different parts of the spectrum. They see different colors that we don't see. I'm probably going to get assassinated for saying all this shit, so whatever. I don't know. Snakes sense thermal. I don't know if they see it. Yep. RIP. Don't ever let it tell you I didn't try to warn you. Oh, they could kill me if they wanted to. Well, they wouldn't be Jews that would kill me. They'd go get some goys to kill me. It'd be like some American it'd be like a Trump supporter. I fucking know. I know. They're probably just gonna send PD over here. They're probably fucking Jacob from PD. Probably come over here sometime and be like, dude, I gotta kill you. Sorry. I'm like, Jacob, get out of here, fucker. Yeah, exactly. I'll put on a fucking reflective vest and be like, guys, I need you to stand 15 feet away. Okay, I'm working on a line here. They'll be like, oh, sorry. We'll wait until you're done before we kill you. We don't want to get in the way of progress and order. Worst thing I've ever done was shoot a bunch of dogs on a mission. I shot a ton of dogs because they were being used as early warning system for a village we were light patrolling in. Shot like all kinds of dogs, and I have nightmares about it because I love dogs. I don't know. I was thinking about wrapping it up. You guys got any good combo topics that you want to talk about? Or am I blackpilling the fuck out of you? I'm immune to black pills. You can't black pill me. This is like cornflakes for me. No, it is my fault. I made the choice. I could have just said no. It's my fault. You got to own up. We got to stop shifting responsibility, right? Just take responsibility for whatever you do, guys. It's yours to own. Like your life is yours to live if you want, but you got to take responsibility for it, just like I do. And I made the choice to do that. I don't go to. I have been to Knob Creek before, and I've seen it at night. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty impressive the first time, but I don't really go there anymore. I've been there a few times. Project Bluebeam, I'm not familiar with. Conspiracy theories. What kind of conspiracy theory do you want to talk about? Don't watch porn. Stop watching porn. Trump sold you out before he ever got elected. We didn't. It's not like you had a choice. Don't feel bad about it. It's not like you had a choice. Like, what are you going to vote for Hillary Clinton? I don't know if space is fake. I assume not. What the fuck should I know? I've never been there. I'm reading the label on my beer bottle right now. What do you mean? It looks pretty slappy. I have no idea where we're at. What are we talking about? Do we have a well, Noahide is like the Noahide law is like they're slipping in. So the Noahide law, they got the Noahide law, like they're doing it in Congress right now. Like they're normalizing it through Congress by saying that it's the universal base law for everything, and then they're opening the Senate prayer with it, and they're on rotation with all the other religions. So they're like doing like Hands Across America. One day we'll do the Christian pastor, then we'll do like the fucking rabbi, and then we'll do the fucking imam or whatever. And then when the rabbi gets in there, he's like, he's like, yeah, Judaism. He's like universal law, basis of all foundations, and no. And then everybody's like, all the dumb guys are in there, and they're like praying to whoever they pray to, and they're going like, yes. That will be Noahide. So they're just slipping it in, and they're gonna pull it off if people don't wake up. We're all idiots. But I mean, real life is the biggest black pill. What about the third tower? I mean, don't you think they blew that shit up? The third tower. I mean, isn't pretty obviously? You know that Rockefeller built World Trade Center, right? I mean, everything about it is like completely. I mean, it's just outrageously fishy. Yeah, the church is fucked. They're not. I mean, they're gonna walk right into it. The church loves Israel, and it's not in their interest because they're gonna get fucking decapitated. Idiots. I mean, honestly. I mean, I don't mean they're idiots because of their faith or religion. I mean, they're idiots because they're serving the enemy of their church, basically. This is all fake. I'm just wearing a bunch of fake hair and stuff. I don't really look like David Krish at all. You probably wouldn't recognize, if I took the shit off, believe it or not, you probably wouldn't recognize me if you saw me. No, it's never too late. Don't be black-pilled. It's never too late. But if you're sitting here on the internet, like we're sitting on the internet right now, I'm taking my time to come out here and say this shit to you. Nobody's paying. This is not like, I'm not going to be getting any Nike deals here. Okay. This is not, like, I'm not going to be getting a bunch of offers. I'm going to be getting a bunch of people texting me being like, hey man, I just wanted to let you know, good job. That's what I'm going to get. You people that are watching this, if you understand what I'm saying and actually understand the danger, you need to be disseminating this information in your social connections believably so that people understand it. Not just like trying to, if you're going about it trying to make people hate Jews, then you're doing the wrong thing. America needs to be independent, and you need to have the ability to actually have independence. You have no ability for independence right now. Everything that we do is tied into dependence from somewhere else. That's why the logistic system of food has been distended with globalization, so that you're not growing your food here. Because now there's an entire weapon against you. They can just stop it. They can just stop the fucking trucks from coming in. They can stop the ships from coming to port. And then now you just lose like a bunch of food that went to a city. Now all the people in the city are going to get upset because they're going to be all going to be hungry, and they're going to do anything that they tell them because they're already socialists. They don't give a fuck about anything anyway. And they're going to do whatever they tell them. So they're going to sick them against you. They're going to steal your food. They're already writing articles. I read an article. There's an article like 2 weeks ago that I read about some opinion piece in some East Coast rag, like New York Times or something, where they were making the argument that people that homestead and grow their own food are inherently white supremacist and racist, and they're, like not helping out the general population. They're just doing it all for themselves. Oh man. Okay. Well, we're getting spread out here, so I'm gonna sign out. This was a pretty hardcore episode. I didn't really mean to get that crazy. But that's where you guys took it, and I answered your call. All right. Isn't it illegal to collect rainwater? You might have a hard time here in the future. Okay. Have a good night, guys. Have fun.